So David, you've been on a couple of podcasts already.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of this one, and what's going to make this one a bit different than all the other podcasts you've been on?
I think I just want to make it more like raw, authentic about any topic that you want to ask me. Like the theme I see is like into David's soul. So whatever comes out, I guess, comes out.
Okay. Obviously, I prepared ahead of time. And my idea with this podcast is to kind of split it up into 3 different acts.
Okay.
So let's begin with Act 1, which is the early life of David, how you grew up, who you were before social media, before AI, before anything. Who was the early David?
Yeah, so I was born in Ostrava in Czech Republic. But when I was very young, we moved to a small village. So I grew up from like 3 years old on a village, which is a very, I would say, good upbringing. I'm glad I grew up on a village, not in a big city. I think my life was, as good as it could be, basically. Like, everyone in my family was good. Nobody was on drugs, safe environment, like no crime. I mean, yeah, every now and then something in the village is stolen, but like no serious crime, Czech Republic. After communism, it's like everybody's kind of lower middle class. Everybody's the same. Nobody was rich. Nobody was entrepreneur. I didn't know you could be an entrepreneur until like 15, 16 when I began watching YouTube. And I found some American entrepreneurs, like Patrick Bet-David, Gary Vee, kind of the OGs of YouTube. So yeah, when I was younger, I wanted to be what society told me, which is just go to college, get a PhD, be a scientist, something like that. But yeah, I mean, my upbringing was, I think, as perfect as it can be,
So what was kind of your relationship with money kind of as a kid? Did you ever struggle? You said you had a pretty good life.
I mean, we probably started like lower middle class, and then my parents, got us up to like probably middle class. I never needed money. I never was the type of kid to ask for money. I never had like allowance. Even when other kids had like an allowance of 50 Czech crowns per week, which is like $2 per week, I never had an allowance. And like ever since I was like 15 and 16, then I began making my own money. And since the age of 16, I never needed to ask my parents ever again. So before then, like if I needed something for school, they would buy it. But I didn't really want many things. Like the only things I remember is like buying trampoline park passes. I just needed money for a trampoline park, like going there twice a week, 3 times a week. And that's about it.
Why trampolines?
I mean, when I was like 7, we got a trampoline on our garden. Obviously, the garden trampoline is not the same level as the gymnastics trampolines in trampoline parks. So I kind of began jumping just on the garden and learned some basic tricks. But then a trampoline park opened in Ostrava, and that was a real game changer because the trampolines are way better. And you can just do like, instead of single flips, you can do doubles and triples and just do way more. So I began going there like 2 to 3 times a week. And really, that was like my first beginnings with Instagram and social media. That's where I learned the skill of editing and posting, is with the flipping videos. It's called flipping. There's also term flipping for like flipping cars and stuff, but trampoline flipping is also a thing. It's pretty niche, pretty small. So I started with G-Tramp, which stands for garden trampoline. But then I moved on to the like bigger trampolines and just posted clips of me, and that was my first real Instagram social media account. Mm-hmm. And that's what taught me the basics of making videos, making content.
I mean, the reason I ask why trampolines is because like typically kids get into, football, soccer, like those kind of typical sports. This is a bit...
I did that as well though. Like when I was younger, I played tennis. I played football a bit. Then I quit. I don't know, like I always had like a very rebellious personality. When I played tennis, I remember being kicked out. I had like the Nokia 3310, like the classic ones, the indestructible ones. Mm-hmm. I remember this vividly because I got kicked out from one tennis lesson for not listening to the instructor. I don't even know what happened, but I just remember calling my mom that like she had to pick me up early because he just refused to coach me. And I thought it was the most overpriced shit imaginable. Like it was like 100 Czech rounds per hour, which, is like $5 per hour. So it is what it is. I was like, there's no way my parents are paying for this. This is crazy, these tennis lessons. But yeah, I mean, I did a bunch of other sports, but trampoline, like you have it on the garden. You can do it whenever you want. You're kind of free. And it's a solo thing, right? In some ways, it's similar to entrepreneurship. Like a lot of kids have a trampoline in their backyard. It's not that uncommon. Like every other garden has a trampoline. Most of them never learn any flips, or maybe just a front flip, basic shit. And I don't know, I just like the self-improvement. I told myself, many tricks, everything just by trial and error, watching a few YouTube videos, then going out and 2 hours on the garden trampoline.
So that was your first experience with social media as well, growing the trampoline Instagram account.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I had some like videos as a kid of like on the village we played floored ball, like a floorball. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. Floored ball in Czech. Basically, it's like it's popular in like Finland. It's like a hockey, but you know, with the holes, and it's on wood, so it's not on ice. Mm-hmm. So we played that in our village, and when I was like 8 maybe, and I recorded that on a very old camera, and we had like matches, me against one guy. It was like 3 of us, and basically the one who wasn't playing was filming. But those are obviously all private. But those are like my first videos, just 2v2 matches.
And so in your village, what did success look like for, you know, the adults when you were still a kid? What did they kind of aspire you to be?
I mean, I don't really think about it like that. Nobody really thought about it like that. What success looks like. Maybe the classic path is just, you know, going to college, good marks. Like for a kid, it's just, I don't remember it from the adult perspective. I never had like those conversations. But for a kid, it's like, okay, get great marks, get into like a prestigious, you know, middle school, high school. You know, it's kind of combined, so it's 8 years. So I went elementary 5 years, and then it's called secondary grammar school, like combined middle school and high school 8 years. So get into a good one, and then get into a college, and you know, whatever. Mm. Just classic path. Like it's probably the same in like Asia, you know. Just it's the post-communist mindset. Like, you know, my parents are the first generation college graduates, so obviously they wanted me to go to college. But the moment I made my first $15 online, I knew I wasn't. My grades went from like basically straight A's to like C's and D's. Nearly.
What was the first $15?
Instagram marketing. Growing people's Instagrams, right? I learned it myself with my accounts, and then I watched some videos. Okay, so this is actually an important part of my, I guess, career. It's like the only job I ever had, if you can call it that, was like a summer gig, 2 weeks part-time job, manual labor, the most fucking boring shit imaginable, like jackhammers, demolition, you know, lawn mowing, like literally as most manual as it gets. Multiple people quit during those 2 weeks. And like tough guys, you know, like the fucking 40-year-old worked manual labor all his life, but just quit because either it was too shit of a job or too low of a pay, or a combination of both. But for me, like the bigger issue wasn't the manual thing. The bigger issue was I could extrapolate those 2 weeks into my next 4 years of life. Because the guy who was the manager, he promised like, okay, if you work hard, I'm going to bump your pay from 85 an hour to like 95, right? So 85 per hour is like $4 per hour. And, you know, I was like naive enough to believe him. But after the first week, it was becoming apparent that like, even though I worked, you know, basically more intensely than I needed to, and like a bit more hours also, the salary raise was never coming. And I just saw it. That was enough for me to see my next 40 years kind of flash in front of my eyes and see like, okay, if I go into some like big ass company and I work hard for a year and they increase my salary by 5%, like what is that, you know? It's terrible. So I went on YouTube and I began looking, and I found a video from Valuetainment. It was like 14 ways teenagers can make money or something like that. One of these was Fiverr. So I went on Fiverr. I was like, okay, you know, PBD, Patrick by David, he was like, okay, you need a skill. I was thinking what skills I have. And growing Instagrams was a skill that I was like, okay, everybody wants to have more followers, right? Like everybody wants more status, more fame, whatever. So I was like, okay, this is a skill I have that other could pay for. So I just created some gig. $5, $10, $15. You could do only 3 packages on Fiverr back then. And so I did this, and I was like, okay, now I need to just advertise. So I had multiple Instagram accounts, you know, one for my game development, because that was my first little project, was a indie game studio, right? Like an Android game that took me like 10 months to make. Didn't make a single dollar, got like 1,000 downloads. But one thing I did really well, even during development, I was advertising it on Instagram. I was growing the Instagram. Even now it has like 11,000 followers. I was growing it throughout the 10 months of advertising. So there was some like hype building up, and that's why I got 1,000 downloads, but 0 purchases or of any skins or anything. But I had like multiple Instagram accounts, right? My biggest one was my flipping, my personal one. Then I had my video game, like indie developer account. I had some other ones. So basically what I did is like cross-promote it. You know, one of the accounts, like one guy DM'd me on my main account, said like, how did you get so big followers, you know? Because like trampoline flipping, it's not like right now where guys do like 8 flips sponsored by Red Bull, it gets like 10 million views on shorts, right? Short form content wasn't a thing back then. It was just Instagram post. So it was very underground. Like the biggest people had maybe like 30K, 50K followers, like the biggest, right? It wasn't like parkour. Parkour was way bigger. So I was pretty big. I think I reached like 24K at the peak. And some guy asked me like, how did you grow this? For trampoline flipping. And I basically referred the other account, right? Like I had for Instagram marketing. And he instantly bought the biggest package. I was like, that's crazy. Because like that was just all I needed. The proof of concept.
How old were you?
16.
Were you at a job at this point whilst doing the Instagram accounts, or was this after?
This was the same period.
Okay, so you quit your job.
I logged in on this in those 2 weeks of the job. That's where I saw the video on like 14 ways teenagers can make money. I went on Fiverr, and in the next week or two, I made that $15, and then it was basically over. I was grinding DMs all day, every day. I didn't later I found some apps that you can automate this, and you can click around, and because the strategy wasn't like follow for follow. It was a different strat. It was like you go on a page in your niche, you look at like the most recent post. Like for example, if you're selling like fast fashion, you would go to like H&M most recent post, and like okay, it's like a couple of hours ago, and everybody who liked it is an active fan of fast fashion. Or football clubs, right? Like if someone is like a Bayern fan, if they posted 1 hour and there's like thousands of people who liked it already, they're probably super fans. So what you do is if you have an account about football, you follow these people. And roughly 10% will follow you back, because when people see a new follower, it sends a notification and people are curious and they follow you back. So you do the strat and you slowly increase it. And back then you could do like 1,000 follows per day roughly, which resulted in roughly 100 followers per day for you. And then when you reached 7.5K, because that was the maximum back then, how many accounts you can follow, you just do unfollow. So next few days, you just unfollow. I was literally, and the limits are hourly. So every hour, the limit resets. It's 100 per hour. So every hour, I loaded up my Instagram and I was grinding. Just follow, literally counting 1 through 100 every hour. And I didn't mind it at all. I was doing it every single hour. Because, okay, maybe I can backtrack a bit. Why Instagram? Like I found Instagram pretty early. Maybe like when it came out, like early days of Android, on the app, it was on the App Store. I downloaded it, I used it for like filters and shit, but nobody was really using it for social media back then. Definitely not for the Czech Republic. So I kind of ignored the app for a couple of years. And then when I was like 15, suddenly everybody from my class started hopping on Instagram. And I had this feeling like, yo, I was early to this. Like I'm not going to go on Instagram. I was there like years ago, But then it was kind of apparent that like, okay, everybody had Instagram. I just need to get on there. So I'm like, if I'm going to install Instagram, I need to be the best. I cannot just do it like, for the fun and have like 50 followers. I was like, okay, so what does that mean? The most popular girl in our school, which was like 600 people, she had, I think, maybe like 600 followers. So I was like, okay, I need to get more followers than the most popular girl in our school. So I went on YouTube and I started researching tutorials, and like different methods. Some of them seemed kind of bad to me, but this one seemed like pretty doable. It's free. I'm a huge believer in starting businesses for free, by the way. Every business until like recently, like Vectel maybe was the first exception, I started for free and I just started making money right away before investing any money into it. So I needed something like that I could just start for free, no softwares, and this was like pretty simple strategy. So I started doing it, and like within the first month, I maybe had like 200 followers. Within the second month, I probably had like 400, and it just kept growing. Within 1 year, I was like, over 10,000, and by far the most popular out of any school, or even like the region of Czech Republic. But that's how I learned the skill, basically.
So at what point did you stop Instagram, and what did you pivot to after?
I mean, Instagram is really what I did for the first few years. The reason only I started YouTube is because it's like a bigger monetization potential and the long form content.
I guess before we even move on to YouTube, let's just jump back a little bit, because I'm wondering,
yeah,
tell me about like quitting that job that you had, the labor job that you had, because you were on Instagram, that was going pretty well. So you made your first $15. Was that like a conscious decision straight away? You decided to leave, or did you like consider it?
Okay, so it kind of matches. I skipped 1 day because I injured my knee, so I skipped 1 day, and then the next week I was just grinding in the DMs. To me, it was instantly like obvious. I didn't need to do like any. Maybe it was just like mental calculation, but like, okay, if I can do this amount of DMs per day, and like this is my conversion rate. I didn't use the word conversion rate, but like I could roughly imagine like I could make money with this, like $15 as a 16-year-old in Czech Republic, it's like, it's over, you know? I made that myself, and I was like, if I can do this once a week, twice a week, like that's more than enough money I can do. And obviously I saw like the skills. You don't get any skills like working in demolition with a jackhammer. Just like literally there was multiple days where they gave me a normal hammer and put me into a room with like some old furniture like glued to the wall. It's like destroy everything. It's like, okay, like it's kind of fun, you know, it's like these destroy rooms, people pay for this shit. But there's no skill, there's no growth, right? And there's no scaling. For me, it's like obvious, like if something is a limited opportunity or unlimited opportunity. That's why I always was in the English market. I never even considered selling to Czech Republic on Czech. All of my accounts, everything was in English. Even when I was very young, like my video games were in English, not in Czech, because I instantly understood the value of like English is a much bigger market. So for me, like, okay, if I worked in this job, even if I was the hardest, best construction worker in Czech Republic, I mean, I would still be poor. There's no future there, no skills, nothing to build. So with the business, it wasn't even a question about the money. It was just like, okay, I made money online. This is crazy. Like, I can scale this. So basically, within like 2 months, I was making more money than my teachers. I like the day I went into school, like I employed 5 of my friends in the same class.
What's the kind of point of you scaling? If you mentioned that this, you know, you didn't grow up in poverty, you didn't really see that aspect of money, I guess, that you weren't, it doesn't sound like you're money driven is what I'm trying to say. So like, why did you want to scale? Why did you want to hire more? And why did you want to expand at, you know, 15, 16?
I mean, I was always hyper competitive. It's a great question, by the way. Even before, the year before, I remember I had like goals for every holiday break. You know, most kids don't do anything on holiday break. Just fucking mess around, you know, waste time. I had serious goals. Even before business. I remember vividly the year before, I had like specific goals for World of Warcraft and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I needed to reach MG1, Master Guardian 1, in CSGO within like a month of starting. I had a goal for World of Warcraft, which I didn't reach because it was a paid game, and I hated spending money on games. In my first, like, side note, first like 10, 12 years of gaming, I didn't spend a single dollar on games. So I hated spending money on games. But yeah, I always had like hyper-competitive drive. One time, this was like, maybe I was like 9. We went, so my friend had like Need for Speed, the Most Wanted. He gave me the CD, I had it as well. We were like kind of roughly the same car, you know, progressing with the cars. Then my family took me on holiday. Worst punishment possible, you know, on vacation for 7 days. Obviously, he grinded in those 7 days. He came back, he had like the Viper. I remember it. He had like an American Dodge Viper. It's like, this is over. You know, he like overtook me by so much. Then I locked in, and I remember I overtook him to the, you know, final BMW, what is it, E46, the final level. And I finished the game first. And I don't know, I was just always hyper competitive. I mean, okay, let's rewind even back. Pokemon cards, right? All of them were fake, obviously. You know, in fucking Czech Republic at that time. I mean, maybe some kids at the school with rich parents had like real cards, but most of them were for sure Vietnamese shops, you know, it's fake cards. Anyways, I started with 0. I literally didn't have any cards. Someone took pity on me. And keep in mind, this is, again, maybe I'm like 7, 8 years old. So when Pokemon started, Pokemon card trading, this is not Pokemon Go, this is not the Pokemon the game, just physical Pokemon cards. When this started happening in my elementary school, like I didn't have a single card. Some other kid took pity on me and he gave me one fist energy, you know, like the orange energy card. And from that, I traded that for another card for a little bit better, traded that for 2 cards. Couple months later, I had the biggest deck in school. And it's nothing about like money or competition or anything. It's just, it's about the competition. It's not about the money. It's just about winning, you know? Winning, scaling, growing, doing the best, reaching your fullest potential.
But do you think it's more about wanting to win or like being scared to lose?
No, it's not about being scared to lose. I think it's about playing the game. Like, what's the point of stagnation, you know? Like being in the same position in life. I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Like, even if I lost everything, like I would at least like just do stuff differently, different place, you know, different people, different business, just something. Like, you need to grow in some way, you know? Even if you like, your business goes to shit, maybe you just reach your better physique, okay? Maybe, okay, if your relationship goes to shit, maybe your business grows. You need to be growing in some way. Or maybe you start reading books and you like improve your intellect and knowledge. So I was always a huge, like, I think it goes to mindset, you know, huge mindset person, even before I started in the business. You know, the reason why that scaling could have happened and why I could be grinding every hour, opening my Instagram and like click, boring on paper, you know, the most boring, 100 clicks. Then you have to unfollow all those people and then follow you. And I did that on multiple accounts. So like every hour, literally like 300, 400 clicks, just boring. But the reason for that, like before I started business, I spent a solid 1 or 2 years just self-improvement, grinding this. In chemistry classes, I had a strat. I was one of the first people who discovered AliExpress in my class. So I bought like fake AirPods, like much bigger ones, Bluetooth trash, but they worked. So I bought ones in a skin color because they were white, black, and pink, which was skin color. So I bought the skin color, I put it like this, and I was singing like this in chemistry classes. And I transcribed an entire book. Literally every single word of audiobook. I listened to so many audiobooks when I was in high school. It's not even funny. So I just completely brainwashed myself for success. Like my mindset, but it goes even deeper than that. I think most of my mindset is probably God-given from birth. But really the 1 or 2 years before I started business, I already set myself up for success for just like all the fundamentals, Think and Grow Rich, all of these classic books. I listened to them so many times.
You mentioned a while ago that you were rebellious as a kid, but from my understanding, you didn't even drink alcohol ever. Basically, you didn't smoke.
No.
So it's kind of a different kind of rebellion you mentioned. Why didn't you go into like that angle at all and just into like self-success?
It's like, I don't know, like I just saw it obviously. Okay, first of all, I was lucky again with my family. I was very lucky that nobody even smoked in my family.
But didn't you want to rebel for them to like want to, not smoke?
I was not rebelling against my family. I was rebelling against.
So you weren't rebelling
teachers.
Just to rebel, I guess.
No, that's some people do that. Some people like rebel against their father. Travel to a different country, whatever. But I didn't do that. I never rebelled against my parents. I don't know. I'm not gonna say never, maybe.
Yeah.
But like it was mostly the teachers, mostly the fake authorities. I always had a thing where I spotted someone's fake authority. And I noticed this even when I was like in elementary school. I remember maybe even like 6 years old. Some of the teachers were not that smart. And it didn't take me long to realize this. And then I realized like you have fake authority, Like I remember it was a story with Roman numerals. Did I tell you this or no? Basically, Roman numerals like I equals 1, I is 2, so on. When we got to number 4, the teacher was like, okay, number 4 is I. I'm like, no, number 4 is IV, because I played World of Tanks, and I know that the number 4 is IV. So I'm like, excuse me, and I instantly corrected her. Obviously, she didn't like that. She like said like, no, you're incorrect, David. It's this. So I'm like, oh my God, no, I know she's wrong. I was like literally like thinking for 20 minutes. I couldn't keep it to myself. And then like a miracle happened. I looked on the wall. I think it was on the left, but I looked on the wall and, like the classroom has like a bunch of things, different like maps, different helpful educational materials. There was a little thing, like a square with a guide on Roman numerals. And there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 4, IV. So I'm like, excuse me. And I pointed to that and it was done, She was quiet after that. So I don't know. I was rebellious against fake authority. My parents didn't have like fake authority. Like, I don't know. It just makes sense to me why. Maybe like when I got like closer to 18, I was seriously considering dropping out of high school. My mom talked me out of that. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really rebelling against my parents. The reason I didn't do drugs and alcohol, I don't know. I don't really have that much need to fit in, to be fair. I think most people don't do it to rebel. It's to fit in.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't have like a fear of missing out? Like these are the only years you can do this? And
not really. I mean, one thing that I have to thank our teacher, like one of the teachers we had, he explained the marketing of cigarettes, that it's like marketed towards like 14, 15, 16-year-olds and not towards 40-year-olds. And that was like a unique idea because most lessons are useless in school. And this was like a very unique idea that I heard like, damn, like, okay, that's actually true. People start smoking at this young age and then they never quit. It's not targeted towards adults. It's targeted towards the kids. So that's like one helpful idea. Again, I don't know how much I can credit him. But yeah, I just never started. I feel like if you don't start drinking at like 13, 14, 15, 16, why would I start drinking at 24? It's just completely retarded. And like you don't have to be a genius to see the ROI. Like, okay, socializing, yes, it's easier. It's easier to socialize. Okay, yes, good feeling in the moment. But then you can name like 20 negatives instantly, right? So, I don't know. It was just obvious.
Yeah. I mean, I think for someone like you, the idea of Adderall would probably be, more, I don't know, interesting for you. So did you ever consider these kind of drugs that like, if you're competitive and you want to be the best, taking something like Adderall might stimulate your brain more and you might want to work harder or longer hours, less sleep? What, like, I can understand why you might not want to drink, but like why, I'm not trying to convince you obviously, but like why don't you consider this idea then?
Maybe I just was raised too well. I don't know, maybe I was raised too well by my parents and I think they did a good job explaining the negatives of drugs and the dangers of drugs, and they were not like overprotective in this way. They were just like good at showing it, like,
Is it just like a health conscious decision more so than anything?
No. It's just that the ROI isn't there. Like, I don't need it. The first 20 years of my life, I didn't even drink caffeine. I remember being 20, I went to a coffee shop, I didn't know what to order. I didn't know the names of the options, like espresso, cappuccino. Like, obviously I heard cappuccino somewhere, like maybe my mom ordered it, but I didn't know what it means. I had no idea about coffee even as a 20-year-old. So like, I remember going, to like one of the first times going to a cafe, and I was like literally reading the menu, trying to understand what these options are and like what should I order. So like the first 20 years of my life, which, when I was 20, I was like already making like 20, 30K a month I'm fast forwarding from the Minecraft channel, but I didn't need these stimulants to reach my success. So like, why would I start taking it now? And then like, if I reach the next level of success, I would have that small thinking like, is it thanks to these stimulants? I don't want to reach it thanks to these stimulants. It's like cheating in a video game, It's like you might have some skill, but like if you're cheating, even if it's calculated cheating, you'll never have that satisfaction of winning because you might think it's because of the cheats.
Okay, I guess let's move on past this.
I mean, John D. Rockefeller didn't do any at all, and he was the fucking GOAT. So why would I need it? If you're just that good, you're that good, And I think it's even more satisfaction if other people are doing it and you're not doing it, and you crush them anyway.
Maybe it's bad for the long term. Might get you a few boosts, a few sleepless nights, but
sacrificing sleep is very bad for long term.
So let's move on past the Instagram accounts. Like, at what point did you decide to do the pivot? For those that don't know, you pivoted from the Instagram to.
I mean, there's stuff there. Like, let's not speed run this.
So
I don't want to.
What are we missing out from?
Yeah, there's like years of just basically being on that level of like 1 to 3K a month. Okay, I'm gonna call it that level. There's a long period, so probably from like 16 to like 20 until my YouTube channel blew up. So those like 3.5, 4 years, it was that range, kind of like 1 to 4K a month.
Whilst in school, yeah.
While still in school, still in high school. Again, I was literally counting the days until I'm 18, because my plan was to drop out the day I turned 18. What saved me was COVID, because COVID saved me, and now the classes became online, and I could just work on the business. I was literally grinding, when I started the Minecraft channel, I was like literally building videos on classes. I was going on Google Meet. I just said I didn't have a webcam. It was a lie, because my webcam was a microphone. I actually didn't have a microphone. So I was recording through my webcam microphone, but I just told them I didn't have a webcam. So I was just, recording a video, literally muted on a Google Meet class. And, again, the Google Meet classes were like maybe 2-3 per day. You could skip most of them. And I was just paying somebody on my class like $50, $100 a month to just do all my tasks, all my homework. So I delegated all my like deliverables for the school, and I was just like working on my businesses. And that's what saved me. Otherwise, I probably would have dropped out at 18, because one of my other friends dropped out at 16. But luckily I didn't. And I say luckily, it doesn't really matter. I don't know what would have happened. But then the next year, when things started like winding back, or like COVID was still going, but it wasn't as strong. Basically, that next year, as the calendar year starting, I was like basically decided that I'm quitting. But then my mom talked me out of it. I don't really remember what she said, but I think the only thing I remember is that I was crying after it. And then I stayed.
About dropping out? About dropping out?
Yeah. Because when the because I turned 18, like, March, and then basically next school year starts in September. So like end of August, I was decided that I'm not going. I was making enough money to survive. I have my own business, and there was like zero value in the school. But it was the last year. So I don't know what my mom talked about. I don't really remember the conversation. I just remember that, I cried at the end of it, and then the next day I show up to school, and like half of my class was shocked because they thought I'm not coming. But yeah, it was the last year. It was kind of easy with the COVID, and yeah, I still managed to like work on my business. So to answer your question, in those years, like after the Instagram marketing, I was doing that for a solid year or two. Then I did like editing of video creatives. I tried a bunch of businesses, right? Like nobody talks about the failed ones, but it's the lessons.
But just from moving on, during all of this time, like, did you have any friends that you were doing this with, or were you doing it all alone? Did you have any consultants? How did your like relationships during this time work?
I mean, I always had friends. Like, I never had problems making friends.
Ambitious
Friends? Not really.
Were they helping you with the businesses?
I mean, how rare is to find somebody ambitious? Like, even in this world, you know, like you talk to the entrepreneurs and it's like their goal is literally like lifestyle maxing. What is the ambition in making like 1 million a month and just like lifestyle maxing in Bali or Dubai? What is that ambition? Okay, it's more ambitious than a 9-to-5 typical worker, but like it's not ambitious. You know, each year the definition of ambitious pushes forward. So yeah, maybe like, I don't know, one guy in our class wanted to go to Harvard and he failed. Okay, maybe that's ambitious. But I had friends for like, you know, just from village. Like I literally grew up on a village. People don't realize this. I came from school. I did my homework because my mom put a good lesson in me. Like, do your homework and then you can have fun. So I just did my homework in the 30 to 60 minutes quickly. And then I went out and we literally went to the forest, to the fields, building some mountain bike trails, climbing trees, you know, doing like illegal roof climbing, you know, parkour until it was like, you know, sunset. And then I came home. So those were my friends mostly just from my village and from a second village. And obviously then I had friends from high school and those were like mostly video game friends. We were, you know, addicted to League of Legends together. We were playing like Minecraft together, World of Warcraft together. So those were my main friends during that time. And obviously I recruited some of them to be in business, but they didn't really have that hustle in them, you know. They didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit. So while they make money, and you know, obviously it's better to make some money than no money when you're like 16, 17, they didn't have that proactiveness. It's like most people, like most employees, they just like do the tasks and don't do anything else.
Do you think video games are like killing the ambition of a lot of our generation?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot say only negatives about video games, right? Like, for example, there's the famous Joe Rogan, Elon Musk podcast where they like glaze video games for 30 minutes. It's like, oh yeah, you know, surgeons who play video games are more accurate. Like, okay, whatever. Like, obviously now I can use the computer way better because I'm way faster on the mouse and I'm way faster on the keyboard. And even speaking English, like that comes from like CSGO and having to be good at communication. But video games nothing is black and white, you know? So I think if you look at how many people, and I'm not talking like 100 IQ typical guy. I'm talking like 140 plus IQ geniuses. How many of them are just like a challenger tier in League of Legends? Instead of being like Leonardo da Vinci or some scientist or some artist, you know, Mozart, somebody to discover new species of flower or animal, or, you know, invent new physics, mathematics, invent new art. They're just addicted to a video game, playing a ladder. It's similar to chess. I think chess is actually the OG video game. Chess on paper is completely useless. People who watch the Demis Hassabis documentary, they'll know. He had that realization where it's like, what am I doing? I'm playing this chess, all of these geniuses in one room, and just, you know, putting all their genius towards what? Towards a made-up game. Video games are no different. You know, chess has this reputation. It's like more prestigious. If you tell your grandma you're a chess professional, she'll be happy. If you tell her you're a video game professional, she'll fucking cry. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You have so many talented guys. I mean, some girls, but most video games are played by guys. So much talent and so much genius is wasted on just grinding a leaderboard. And yes, obviously there are some benefits, but like, man, you can easily waste your life just playing a video game. Mm-hmm. And most of them don't have a YouTube channel. Most of them are not monetizing. Most of them are not like boosting other accounts to make money. Most of them are just 16 hours, like, you know, 16 hours a day, just grinding a leaderboard, and it can destroy you. I know it. For me, like, there are multiple periods of my life where I was heavily addicted to video games, to the point of like my business going to zero and losing all my clients, and basically like not working out, not going out. It's one of the, I think, worst addictions, to be fair, because it's not like a visible addiction. It's not like alcoholism where people can tell you're drunk, you know? You can walk down the street, you cannot tell somebody's addicted to video games.
Debatable.
I mean, okay, but you get my point. Like, it's not like a drug addiction where other people want to help you. With video games, like, other people don't care about you. They don't even know you're addicted. Like, you're on the computer, okay, maybe you're doing some productive stuff, maybe you're learning, watching YouTube. They don't know if you're addicted to video games. I think it's one of the riskiest, worst addictions for young men.
So what did your parents think of you gaming all day?
I mean, I wasn't gaming all day. It's not that simple. When I was younger, I had a limit. I had like 1 hour per day limit on a computer. So, I think they had like a good discipline. I started probably playing video games when I was 6 years old. And obviously, slowly my time increased. I remember 2013, the year I installed League of Legends, my grades greatly dropped for like the next month or whatever. From like A's and B's to like C's, basically. So that was very noticeable because League of Legends is like digital fentanyl. But yeah, I mean, they put some limits on me. I guess when I started making my own money, they removed those limits because I was actually doing something. Maybe it started when I was developing the video game. But yeah, I mean, as I got older, there was like less restrictions, obviously. It's the same with every person, It doesn't matter if it's video games or other things. As you get older, your parents give you more freedom. But yeah, the most destructive thing is like after I got that freedom, those periods where I could play those video games and I was already, making money with my business. But again, when you're on a computer, nobody knows what you're doing on that computer. And, if you have some recurring clients, it can still make money and you can easily still play 16 hours a day.
Okay, so let's go back on track with the storyline. You're doing the Instagram accounts, you're scaling those, you're making money. Let's go back on track with that. What were you doing during the 1 to 3K months, and how do you shift from, growing the Instagram accounts to then YouTube? Walk me a bit through that journey.
It's the scaling thing, because I was doing things that like flirted with the Instagram guidelines, right? Like this strategy is not really liked by Instagram, just like spam following accounts, hoping someone will follow you back, then unfollowing. It's not against the TOS, but it's not like, really advertised. They probably don't want people doing it. So I think they tightened the limits on the strategy. So then instead of like growing like 100 to 200 followers per day, I could only grow accounts maybe like 30 to 50 per day, which obviously impacts how much I can charge to clients. Because if I can promise you I'm going to grow 200 followers per day, targeted in your niche, you're like, okay, that seems pretty good, 200 active people per day from my niche. But if it's like 30 per day, it's like, okay, you're not going to pay me as much. So it kind of ruined my offer, and I didn't really see the path, Like I just need to see the path of the next level. It's nothing about scaling monetarily or nothing like that. It's just the next level. How do I reach the next level? That's what like is obsessing me in every aspect of life. The next level in my physique, the next level in my business, the next level in my dating life, in my knowledge, in my understanding. It's just the next level. What is the next level? How do I get there? After doing this for those years and stagnating between 1 to 3K, I was like, okay, this is pretty bad strat. Facebook is tightening down the Instagram limits. I need to start doing something else. I was testing other businesses. I tried dropshipping, a hugely valuable experience. It teaches you so many different skills, but I failed with all my stores. One of the stores was like slightly profitable, but I scaled the ads too quickly to like 1K per day. But the profit margins were like 10, 20%, really bad. And then basically I ran out of cash. Like it's a cash flow issue. Meta keeps charging you money, and then like you need to wait from Shopify the money to hit. And like basically the money was like locked up in the cycle. So I scaled too fast. My profit margins were too small, and that kind of screwed me over. And so I tried dropshipping, but then when I realized, okay, why not just do the picks and shovel strategy? Every dropshipper needed creatives. I already knew how to edit videos from my Instagram days. So I was like, okay, maybe I just sell the picks and shovels, which is the video creatives for dropshippers and like e-com brands, right? So I started with that, and that was pretty good. I started like editing that. But the issue is I had an insanely high churn because most people fail completely, right? Most dropshippers are like new to business. They don't have any skills. They don't have any the terrible mindset, right? They quit after the first roadblock. So I had like insane churn, maybe like 90% per month. Obviously, I didn't even know the word churn. Now I know it. And now I would instantly understand this is not going anywhere. And I need a different target avatar and all that. But back then it was like, okay, I was doing it. It was a good skill. It was pretty creative. Like every week you're editing for a different product. You're researching a different product. This week you're doing like a V-shaped mask. Then you're doing like some cushions. Then some toys for pets. It's kind of interesting, a lot of variety, different clients. But it taught me a lot. Like I remember some clients where I like delivered great creatives from them. Did it personally because I also hired editors and had employees always. But I always produce the best quality work. So I edited for that guy personally, and he was like complaining and whatever. So I gave him more, and then he asked for a full refund. I'm like, what is this? So he asked for a full refund, and like he posted bad reviews, whatever. So I gave him the refund, and he still ran those creatives and like got success with those creatives. I was like so pissed at this, but now it's just like it's the lessons of business. Most people would crash out. Most people want to be an entrepreneur. You ask everybody, every man or woman, boy or girl on the street, they want to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur until you're making same money as McDonald's for 2 years, 3 years straight. Until you have a client that you spent a week working on and they just refund you. Then nobody wants to be an entrepreneur. So I'm glad for those lessons early on. And yeah, I mean, where do you want to take this?
Okay, so you went basically from the Instagram accounts to a dropshipping creative agency. Any other businesses during that time? And obviously dropshipping during that time. Any other businesses?
Yeah, I think I tried like creating websites or e-com stores for people. I tried dropshipping myself, like even like white labeling. I don't even remember all the things I tried, but those were the main ones. Yeah.
Okay. So after the agency, what came next was a YouTube channel, originally a gaming YouTube channel.
No, so I started two channels, okay? So for the worst part actually wasn't the churn about that business. The worst part was the lead gen. This was worse than the manual labor. Like the lead generation, we didn't have anything, there was no Hormozy books back then, nothing. So my lead gen was like literally going into Facebook groups and like helping people in comments and then like hoping they would DM me or like, some my friends recommending my account, stuff like this, just like grinding in Facebook groups. The most boring thing, like everybody hated lead gen. I recruited people, into my team and they like started off, excited, want to make money. Lead gen, it broke everybody. It was the most boring part possible. Like literally you go into Facebook groups and you answer the same question over and over and you DM people and like they're completely dummies and it's just so bad. It was the worst and it was the worst way to get clients. I wasn't building any brand, any assets, any momentum, any public image, nothing like that. It was just like lead generation, manual commenting, no automation, no AI, nothing, just lead gen. So that was terrible. That was the worst part of it. And then I realized, okay, I need to do something else. I started 2 YouTube channels. One for this, the editing of dropshipping videos, the creatives. And then the second one was a gaming channel for Minecraft. The reason I started Minecraft is because I played it since beta 1.8, which is like 2011 or whatever. So I already had a lot of experience with it. And because of Dream, the YouTuber. He was growing like crazy in 2020. He went from like 0 to 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil. I was like, insane growth. Like unheard of growth on YouTube. And I was like, okay, what is going on? I can speak English. I can play Minecraft pretty well. I can edit videos. This should be me. That was the pure ego, I didn't see like anything of the advanced stuff, like unique ideas, good packaging. I was like, I have the same skills as this guy. This should be me. Like that should be me growing that channel and like, becoming rich. I know like 1 month he made $1 million from YouTube AdSense alone. No sponsors, no like merch. I mean, obviously he sold a shit ton of merch as well, but purely from YouTube AdSense, he made $1 million in 1 month. So I was like, okay, this guy, and that was later, but I just saw his growth of his channel. I was like, this is insane. So I started the Minecraft channel kind of on the side. And then that year, that was I think like September, probably 2020. No. That was the next year, I think. 21. Probably 2021. Is basically my Facebook account got banned from these groups. Even though I was like doing everything by the book. I wasn't self-promoting. Pure value, playing it super safe. I just got banned from multiple of the dropshipping Facebook groups at once. You know what's funny? Like recently, one of the guys who was like the main dropshipping e-com guy started following me. And it's crazy. Like some of these people, for me, this matters even more than like Mark Cuban. It's just this guy when I was like grinding in his like Facebook groups and like he was like the idol, 100K in a month. Like these type of videos, it's like this crazy $100K in a month. Now these people want to get into AI, so they watch obviously. But one day I just got banned from these Facebook groups. And suddenly my lead gen is gone. And keep in mind, I have a 90% churn month over month. So if I'm not lead generating, I'm dead. There's no like recurring clients or maybe couple, So I was like, this is the sign. Like I hate this lead gen thing. I need to go on YouTube. I just saw the growth on YouTube. I know people made money from YouTube, like YouTube AdSense, Really no other platform pays you. I mean, maybe now a little bit, but like back then it was YouTube only. Like there was the only platform that paid you for making videos. So I was like, okay, I'm going to double down. And that same month, one of my Minecraft videos blew up, got like 1.8 million views. It was about the 1.18 update. And yeah, basically I never touched
That same
dropshipping.
month, so you were doing lead gen whilst making the Minecraft videos kind of at the same time. You didn't pivot.
Yes, I was making Minecraft videos for a year and a half before any success. Year and a half of literally like 2-3 uploads per week with zero ROI. This is why most people cannot be entrepreneurs. They have zero delayed gratification. Like, you know, like the marshmallow test, all that shit, all the mainstream stuff, it's true. All of the mainstream lessons of self-improvement is true. Nobody can do something for a year and a half with zero payoff. And keep in mind, while doing another business and being in school, right? So it's not like that was my main thing, the Minecraft channel. I was doing it for a year and a half. No money, videos getting 100 views per video. And then 18 months later, my first video blew up.
And so did it blow up whilst you were still doing lead gen, or did you quit that fully and decide to dedicate?
I quit that. So I got banned from these Facebook groups. And maybe like that same month, that video blew up. And I remember that video when it started making like some money, because I got monetized like earlier because I had like a slow growing video, kind of these evergreen videos. So that gave me enough like watch time hours to get monetized. So when that video blew up, I saw like, okay, it started making $5 per day, $10 per day, $15 per day. And I'm like, okay, when it reached $15 per day, I remember I was like crazy because, you know, you multiply that by 30, that's like $450 dollars per month. If you turn that into Czech crowns, that's like 10,000. I was like, okay, I can probably survive on 10,000. And like that was for me enough, you know. For me, it's not about lifestyle. Like I just needed enough to survive, to not go to college and not need a job. And that's it. So when that video blew up, I was like, okay, I'm going fully on Minecraft.
What does it mean blow up? Like how many views?
1.8 million.
And how fast of a time?
Like month, 2 months.
And so how much did that video make?
I don't remember. Like my RPMs were like maybe 4, 5. So probably like $6,000.
Did you spend that money?
No, I kept it. I made a huge mistake 2 months. Okay, so like basically, you know, in entrepreneurship, you try to find something that works. Instead of, once I found it, this format of videos, which is kind of like a list, where basically like, you know, 20 facts about Minecraft, or 20 new things about update, or 20 tips that 25 tips the professional players do. 30 insane things that people have built, right? Kind of this like listicle format. I found it and it was working. I was uploading like once every 10 days, once every 14 days. And after that successful video, I had like another one and another one. So I had 3 back-to-back winners. And I remember making like $3,500 in a month. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. You know, this is like more than my parents, like almost like double the minimum wage. Like this is insane. I was 19, I think, at that point. It's like 3.5K. That was my biggest month yet. And it was all from Minecraft videos. It wasn't shitty lead gen with like having to pay like editors on the side and like terrible business model. No, this was 100% profit. Me playing Minecraft, recording, you know, clips, editing it. Boom, insane, right? And I knew I could scale because Dream was making way more than 3.5K a month, right? So I was like, okay, there's opportunity to scale here like crazy. Minecraft was the most popular game in the world. So I was like, okay, I did the worst thing possible. I changed the format. Instead of uploading like every 10 days, every 14 days, the proven format, I took a month to do a completely different experimental video, more like a documentary style Minecraft video, flopped completely. My AdSense went to like, from like 3.5K to like $100 a month. Luckily, I didn't spend the money because I was surviving on that. And actually, that was the first year out of high school. So that was the first year out of high school, right? I remember, actually, we can rewind a bit. Before my channel blew up, the month before, when I was still doing lead generation and the dropshipping creatives, my dad was asking me like, you know, how much is the business making? Because my parents started charging me rent, you know, because I'm not going to college. You know, I finished high school, so I'm going to pay rent. I'm not going to be a freeloader. So they started charging me rent. I think a pretty reasonable rate, like not zero, but not like, you know, predatory, pretty like market rate. If you consider one room, you know, like probably a market rate. So I was paying rent and I was like, okay, how much is the business making? And I was like very proud to say like, I made like 1.3K last month. And I was very proud. And he was like, he looked at me, he's like, 1.3K? It's like, you know, like really? Like, that's not that much, you know? Like, not in a bad way, but like kind of in a, like a, I thought you were making more than that, you know, you're not going to college way. So basically, I didn't spend the Minecraft money. I completely trolled it. Instead of doing more of what works, I made that mistake, many times after that. But instead of doing more of what works, I changed the format completely. I started posting less. And then after that, I got addicted to World of Tanks. So that, was complete tragedy. My channel went from having like motion and growing to just, again, back to like 1K views per video. Completely effed that up, lost all the momentum. YouTube is all about momentum.
But I remember you said you were making like 20K a month with the Minecraft channel.
No,
was this later? Or?
Yeah, that's later.
Okay, I thought
that's next year.
When it blew up. So, okay, you got addicted to
I had a small blow up, right? So that was like a small blow up. It was the first time I proved the format. I went from like making like nothing, maybe like 100 a month to like 3.5K. And then I fucked that up and I went back to 100 a month. So when I blew up was like September, October, November, and then it crashed. December, January, February, and now it started getting interesting because money was running out.
And you started playing World of Warcraft during this time?
World of Tanks.
World of Tanks.
In December, that was just 1 month, addiction. Just casual 1 month.
So how did you...
World of Tanks is a very dangerous addiction.
How did you even get into that?
Just some friend. Just some dumbass friend. See, like this is the importance of the people like who you surround yourself with, Because like, why did I get the idea to play World of Tanks? And probably like the 2 years after that was the same type of situation with League of Legends. Because of some dumbass friend. Like, I just saw the influence, No matter how smart you are, how competent you are, everybody's influenced by the people around you. That's why people need to protect themselves, Like, you cannot surround yourselves with negative people, with people who like drink all the time, who are like lazy, who are unambitious. It's infectious. Even though you think, okay, I'm immune to this, nobody's immune to this. So, like maybe 11 out of 12 months of the year, I could resist it. But then you have that like 1 week moment and, you see that friend playing World of Tanks. What's the harm? What's the harm in just downloading World of Tanks? Well, the harm is the next month of my life. And this game is pay to win. So obviously before then, when I was younger, I never spent money on games. But then I had money, I had some like income from YouTube. So I just wasted probably like 500, maybe even 1K in that month. Just, buying better tanks, premium account, all this shit. Because that game, it's played by like 50-year-olds. People don't realize World of Tanks, it's all like 55-year-olds, 60-year-olds who play it. It's not young people. It's guys with full-time jobs and they're all spamming premium ammunition. It's complete pay to win. So it's not like a cheap addiction, World of Tanks.
And I remember you told me you rationalized it for yourself. So it was like a logical decision. But like,
yeah, that was with the League of Legends. But yeah, I think I probably used the same logic here, because I was like, that was 2 years later with the League. But like basically the idea was like, okay, if I'm watching YouTube, that's kind of passive procrastination. Might as well do active procrastination and play video games. Kind of like these reasons like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan listed out on the podcast, right? For like, okay, it makes your brain better, makes you faster reactions, blah, blah, blah. Just rationalizing. You can rationalize your way into anything, into like staying in a bad relationship or whatever. You can convince yourself to do anything. That's why memory is so like not reliable. Like literally false witnesses. This is one of the least reliable ways. It's just what's it called? Like a type of witness, eyewitness. It's completely unreliable in the rule of law because they can invent their memory. Memory is very bad. Like people actually, what they remember about their childhood, maybe something from what I said is like kind of, enhanced for interest or whatever. But most of your memories from like, a long time ago are probably not what actually factually happened. People don't realize how bad the human memory is.
So let's go back on track with the Minecraft channel. You started gaming whilst making videos, or did you like fully stop making videos during this time? How did that go?
Probably the cadence dropped. Maybe I was probably making like 1 a month, maybe 1.5 a month, like roughly, one every 3 weeks.
Parents saying anything during this time, or did they not know that you're just gaming to game?
They didn't know. It's actually interesting. I think they didn't even know how I was making money. Like, because they probably still thought I was doing the creatives business, but I remember I was like recording secretly because I was like so ashamed of my commentary of like, speaking on camera. And I wasn't even like showing my face. It was just audio, right? So it was like more of voice acting rather than recording. People don't realize how like on these entertainment videos on gaming, you have to really like play with your tonality and your pitch. And some sentences are slow, some are fast. It really is voice acting. But again, it's kind of cringe, right? If you're doing it for the first time, whatever. So I always waited until the house was empty, until, everybody left. And then I recorded it secretly. So I didn't know I had Minecraft channel until I hit like 110K. And I had the silver play button. So they definitely didn't know at that time. And again, I was on the computer. And I already had a track record of doing stuff, right? I developed my own video game. I created like multiple businesses. So they're just on the computer, like letting me cook, kind of trusting that I do stuff. They don't know like I'm addicted to video game.
Were you like ashamed of this at the time?
I mean, probably
self-conscious?
Probably partly. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same with all addictions. Like, nobody's happy about their addictions. Nobody goes around like, oh, I'm overeater, you know. I'm just like kind of stop myself from eating, you know. Everybody's ashamed of their addictions.
And so did you still have self-belief to understand that your channel is going to pop off?
Yeah. I always had self-belief. I don't know why. I mean, even when I was like in literally like the first grade, and you know, I was getting bullied because I was the only. But I don't want to like make this sound like a pity party, you know, like everybody was getting bullied and bullied the younger. I think it's normal. Like, you know, if there's someone younger, you bully him a bit. All the older people bully you. It's fine. Like the reason I have this gap, you know, this chipped tooth is from a fight. But the issue was the ratio. Our class from our village was only me and one girl. The older class, 1 year older, was like 5 boys. So it was just bad ratio, you know. So I don't know. Basically, anytime there was any conflict, I didn't like inwardly think like, oh, why don't they like me? You know, all this shit. I was like, what's wrong with them? Why are they so retarded? Why cannot see I'm right? You know. I always put my anger outwards to the world. I never was like, oh, they don't like me, there's something wrong with me. I never had that mindset, even when I was like 6 years old.
Okay, so how did you get back on track then from, you know, gaming to...
Money was running out. I mean, I'm not retarded. Like, I knew it was a waste of time, right? Yeah. So all it takes is probably like a couple of bad games and like, what am I doing here, you know? Like, right now, I cannot enjoy a video game. Literally, you can put in front of me, like you say, okay, I'm going to pay you 200K this month or whatever. Pure profit, I'm going to make sure, you know, all other areas of your life go better. You can play video games for a month. I would not do it. I cannot enjoy it. Like, literally, I couldn't play a game right now for more than an hour without, like, actually being in disgust because I know I'm wasting potential. I cannot do it. So, and even back then, I had it, but not as to the degree I have it right now because I just know the dangers, you know. I just know the dangers and I know what can be done with that time. Whether it's, you know, working out, whether it's reading a book or growing your business or hiring employees, whatever. It's just like, at some certain point, you know it intrinsically that you're wasting time here and that you should not be doing this. And at a certain point, it overfills. And all it takes is like maybe a couple of bad games back to back and you kind of get on tilt. That's a video game term, tilting. And then you're just like uninstalling it. You just uninstall it and it's like, this is crazy. I'm done. Plus, the bonus was money was running out. I didn't have infinite money and I certainly wasn't taking money from my parents. And I was paying rent. And I started paying mandatory health and social insurance, right? So fucking remnants of communism in Europe where like you have to pay this shit. I mean, health insurance is I guess fine, but like social insurance, the fuck is that? It's a complete scam. So that was kind of rinsing me. And like I had real expenses every month, even though I had like cracked version of software as everything for free. And I wasn't wasting money in any way. No, zero drinking, zero partying. Like I was very optimized with what I was spending money on. And I was like starting to invest, you know, S&P, all that shit. I was running out of money. Every month I had to spend minimum 1K. And I had maybe like a couple thousand saved up. So as like my, you know, November, you know, peak went down, December, January, my channel went back to like $100, $200 a month. And basically I had a spreadsheet with how much money I have and, you know, my expenses. And I could see the projections, like I have a couple months left. And each week, basically, I was like closer to running out of money. And like, okay, obviously I wouldn't go homeless. Like, you know, probably my parents would help me or some friends would, you know, whatever. I wouldn't go homeless. But for me, it's like the ego, like competitiveness, you know? I don't want to fucking be a failure, not going to college and like running out of money, you know, like being bad at business and just, you know, for no reason, like fucking around, you know, with video games. And that's like the disadvantage of having like a good upbringing, you know? You're comfortable. Like a lot of successful people, obviously there's a mix, but like a lot of successful people come from like hard childhood because then it makes them like, you know, competitive. But the issue with like being too comfortable, whether it's, you know, family takes care of like food and shelter or, you know, family is too loving, then you like think the world is easy. You think you're too naive. You think people are kind. You think people lie. You know, like I grew up with great people. All in my family, my village, nobody was a thief. Nobody was a deceiver or anything. Then you go into the world and you think people tell the truth, but it's not the case. It's the same thing financially, right? So I was like comfortable But then like the ego kicked in and like social like pressure, you know, like other people are going to college. What the fuck, I'm gonna run out of money here. Like, you know, the ego of like being an entrepreneur and like I have a couple of months left and like I need to do something. So I know I talked with like some friends. Like one of my friends told me like, yo, just go back to the format that works, you know. Crazy idea, I know. Like do more of what works, you know. So I went back to the format that works. I don't know why I switched it. Maybe it was like an ego thing. Like a singer doesn't want to be a one-hit wonder, you know. So then they like change genre or whatever. But like if you become a rapper and people want to hear your rap, you probably don't want to hear your like soul or your jazz. You know, like imagine if Pop Smoke tried to make jazz. Nobody would listen, you know. Maybe they would. Whatever. You get my point. Like it was probably some of that ego because YouTube is a pretty creative thing. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna be stuck to one format. Not me, you know. I'm gonna try different formats. But obviously it takes a while to different formats to work. So I was like, okay, I'm running out of money. I'm gonna return back to this format. But it didn't work right away because YouTube is a momentum game. So I started like really focusing and uploading every 10 to 14 days. Like really full 14 days. Like people don't realize like you work on a single video for 14 days straight, full time, more than full time, because of the edits. Like literally every 1.5 seconds, you have to change the clip. You have to get custom clips. You record them either POV or from other videos or with replay mode with the camera. So much effort is into Minecraft videos. It's like crazy. Obviously, there's different formats, but like literally like 100+ hours per video, single upload. And they were flopping. They were getting like 1K views, 1.5K. And this is, I probably locked in like January, February of 2020. Or no, 2022. And January, February, I started, let's say February. Okay, I was uploading every 10 to 14 days and I started stacking. But these videos, they were not going well. But it was all in the same format, the same list, right? Then April comes. I was literally probably like 1 or 2 months away from running out of money. I broke my rule because I was only doing these high quality videos and then the April Fool's update dropped, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna snipe this. Normally, I took 14 days to make a video. But when it dropped, I was like, okay, I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna do minimal editing only cuts. I'm just gonna YOLO it. In 4 hours, I posted that video. Okay, just sniping the April Fool's update. It wasn't a big update, but it was something new, you know, timely. So I was one of the first people to cover the April Fool's update. And then next day, I started seeing some views, some traction on that video, right? It was a short video, so the RPMs were very bad. It wasn't about making money. But the video, I think, got up to like 100K views. But the most important thing, it gave momentum to my channel. And suddenly, all the videos I started stacking from February, March, April, April 1st, whatever. Then basically all those videos started blowing up together. And literally videos that stagnated on like 1K, 1.5K went to have like 3 million, 4 million, 5 million views. And I went from, in a single month, from making 200 a month to 20K a month. Literally 100x in your income. And that was probably the biggest shift in my income I'll probably ever experience.
So did it stagnate afterwards? Did it remain 20K a month for a while?
Yeah, it remained like 20K, 30K a month. Then I, tried doing some sponsors. That was like a little bit helpful. My best month was 41K with the channel. But yeah, it really stagnated around that 20K mark for the next, I guess, a year. Yeah, a year. From 22 to 23. And then 23, I switched,
Did you tell anyone when you made?
No.
I was even your friends?
Well, only the friends that were like, one friend was helping me with like editing and, he was like also doing his YouTube. So he knew. Some other friends, like, there were signs, Like, I wasn't like dropping crazy money, but I bought a better computer, which, was a huge investment. Obviously, it's an investment because that was my way of working. But it was the first thing I bought. Like, I just dropped like $3,000 on a computer. I always had like kind of low-end computer, like, decent, My parents, like my dad always tried to give me a good computer, but he was like rational, this type of graphics card is good enough, whatever. But then I just like really balled out and just bought like 3070 Ti, that was like really good back then. And I don't know the other specs, I think like 1270 chip, CPU, whatever, 32 gigs of RAM, I think I had like probably 8 before then or whatever. So yeah, the computer was huge. And then I moved out of my parents' house in a couple of months. That was also huge. I got like one of the best apartments in Ostrava. So that was a big sign. Then I got a car on like operative leasing. It was like a Skoda RS, Octavia RS 2022. So that was a huge sign. Because in Skoda, like if you have a new Skoda RS, you're flexing hard, especially at 20 years old, right? So that was probably one of the biggest signs. And then I started traveling like every month and a half. But I never told anybody how much I'm making. Like, the way I was living, people could think I was making maybe like 100K Czech crowns a month, which is like 5K a month. You know, maybe like 5-6K a month. They would assume I'm probably in that range. They wouldn't assume 20K a month, 30K a month. That was like crazy, like unheard of salary, especially in a small Czech Republic village.
So you upgraded your lifestyle a bit, but were you still grinding a lot during the time?
Yeah, I was, of course. Like lifestyle inflation is impossible when your income goes 100x. Like it's impossible to resist. Everybody, you know, warns you against it, and everybody knows, but it's impossible. Like, how do you you cannot handle it emotionally. Going from making 200 a month and literally like calculating how many months you have left until you run out of money, to making 20K a month and literally you can buy anything. Like, obviously you cannot buy like any house or any car, but like you never look at price of anything. You go shopping, you never look at price of clothes or restaurant price of food. You can afford any apartment. Like, you cannot ball out in Ostrava. My rent was like 35K Czech crowns, like 1.6K. Okay, and I was splitting it with somebody. So I was like, dude, my rent was 800 a month and I was making 20K. You cannot even spend it. It's not Dubai, it's not New York. You can't even spend it. So lifestyle inflation, obviously it happened.
So who are you splitting the apartment with?
The guy was my editor back then. So I hired him. He was like working on a... I mean, we knew each other for many years, but...
So you're both working on the Minecraft channel?
No, he had his own channel, but it wasn't doing as well. So then I just said like, yo, why don't you just join me with my channel? We can do 2 people focus on one thing. So then like after I blew up, he joined me. And yeah, basically I taught him how to edit and everything. And he was working like a warehouse job and then became my editor.
Are you still in touch with him?
Not really. I mean, last year he reached out. He was a customer of Vectel, one of the power users. So he gave me good feedback, really good feedback. And, you know, basically said like he's grateful for everything I've done to him, which took him a couple of years to admit. But yeah.
So what happened during that period? Did you guys split up? Well, you obviously don't still live with him.
I mean, what period? Like after the Minecraft?
During the period where you moved to the nicer apartment in Ostrava.
Yeah.
You moved in with him.
We were grinding on the channel. We were just grinding. And like, as I said, we started traveling like at least once a month, every other month. I mean, I don't want to like go into his personal details or whatever, right? Like he probably wouldn't want me to share it.
Course.
But yeah, I mean, we were just grinding on the business and going to gym and going to the sauna and not really, we weren't partying or we weren't really, you know, actively dating or whatever. We were just focused and grinding and mindset and, you know, getting some coaches, talking, like trying to get some in touch with better people, networking. But, you know, we tried like hiring people as well. It was kind of funny because in the same apartment building on the same floor, there was another Minecraft YouTuber. He was making like more childish content because my content was like watchable by anybody. It wasn't like for kids, you know, like these like animated like role play videos. He was making a complete child Minecraft content because people don't realize like Minecraft is like from 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds until like 30-year-olds, right? There's like old people who play Minecraft. So like my content was kind of watchable by anybody. It was by facts and just educational stuff, like the biggest builds. Anybody can watch like the biggest builds, you know, or the Minecraft world records. But like the childish like role playing, like hey, you stole my block or diamonds, just cringe for kids. So he was making that, and it was so random because we met in an elevator, and like both of us in the same building, both of us like were young. He was even younger than me, like 17 or something. We were like balling out in the top apartments, 4-room apartments, freshly built in Ostrava. It's like, what are the odds? You know, in the same, literally like out of 4 apartments, like 2 of them were like Minecraft YouTubers. This is crazy.
Does kind of boost your ego to start making this money at 20 years old?
Well, of course. It's impossible not to. Like again, 100x in income. People don't realize, like, guys, whatever your income is right now, multiply it by 100x. And yeah, just look at that number.
So what about the rest of the village? Obviously you didn't tell them, but you said there was...
No, I didn't tell anybody.
You said there was signs.
Not like that. Like I wasn't flexing in the village. Nobody knew anything. Mm-hmm. My parents didn't know how much I was making.
So you didn't sense any like jealousy or any of that from the people around you?
No. I mean, I wasn't flexing like publicly like this, you know. Literally nobody knew how much I was making.
And so do you have any purchases from that time that you regret buying or that you're embarrassed for back then?
Just bullshit, like spending like 2,000 Czech crowns on a wallet, which is like $100, you know, it's like useless. Yeah, just maybe like some clothes. Nothing too deep though. Nothing.
Designer?
No, I mean like semi-design. Like when you come from a Czech Republic village, even Adidas is designer, okay? Like legit, when I was in you know, elementary school and middle school, like if somebody came with a new Adidas shoes, like he was flexing. So we're not talking designer like Hermes or Gucci. Like that's not even imaginable. That doesn't even exist, you know? Like anything that's like, I don't know, like Tom Ford, that's crazy designer. That's crazy expensive. Or like Armani Exchange. Like that is, you know, that's like overpriced. But it's not really considered designer.
So is there any other interesting stories during this period of, you know, living in Ostrava, traveling the world a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of, well, yeah, I mean, I can probably every trip, there's interesting stories from every trip. I probably forgot most of them, you know, to kind of clear the context window. You kind of have to go forward in life. Conor McGregor has the best quote on this. You stare at the past and you end up staying there. So many people like think over better years. This is the worst mindset you can have. Oh, back then when I was younger and in better shape, you know, when I was running multiple times a week. Oh, when I was dating this hot chick, my relationship was so great. When I had that job, then I got fired. When I lived in this other country, it was a great time of my life. This is complete poison. You cannot look at the past at all. You stare at the past, you end up staying there. So you need to look into the future. I'm kind of forgetting, you know, most of the stories. You know, sometimes people remind me, like one thing I did that I'm proud of. When I was still in high school, I took out like 100 Czech crown bills, which again, for American audience, like, okay, $5, whatever. But for kids in middle school and high school, 100 Czech crowns is crazy. You know, you can live off that for like 2 weeks. So I took out 20 of them. So 2,000 Czech crowns into 100 Czech crown bills. And I just went across the school, and there was like 2 buildings, and I kind of hid them randomly. One underneath a plant, one underneath the desk, one on the ground, and I just hid them around. And like for the next like month, there was like a commotion, like who is putting these, you know? Because other people found them and the word spread around like, oh, you found this 100 Czech crowns? You found it there, you found it under the plant, you found it between the books. And that was like my way of like giving back to people who didn't really need to be given. I don't know, just I always did like these random giving challenges. I had this like a monthly task of just giving. And I think that was the most fun one I did. Rather than just donating to some random charity where you have no idea where the money is going. Most charities are complete scams. Okay, do not do that. 80% or 85% goes to the managers and the people working there. Usually very little goes to the actual cause. But yeah, stuff like this. One time I tipped like a, like a Rohlik CZ, which is like a Instacart grocery delivery. A girl, I tipped her like 2,000 Czech crowns, which is like $100. And again, average salary in Czech Republic is like 4 times smaller. So you need to multiply it by 4 if you're American. $400, tip. Equivalent value. Insane to a girl that's making probably like that in a month or maybe in 2 weeks, okay? And she like literally texted me like after that day, like, are you sure? Like, are you sure I want to keep it? Like she didn't believe it for like the whole day. And yeah, stuff like that. Just like, I'm a huge supporter of giving money to people who work. If you give money to a homeless guy, think of what you're rewarding. You're rewarding not doing anything, begging, wasting time. If you give money to a Uber driver or delivery driver or a waiter, you're rewarding people who work. So I'm a huge believer in spending your money that way if you want to give to other people. But yeah, I mean, there's stories like, I don't know, maybe like one important story is like when I was 16, I managed to kind of attract, I guess, the hottest girl in the class. But I was just so locked in that I was like, in the summer. Like now I'm like growing my business. Like in the summer, I'll give her some time and, maybe I'll date her. But yeah, didn't end up like becoming anything serious. But the funny thing is like basically every guy who was in our class who was single tried to get with her and she basically rejected everybody. So then when I managed to succeed, people were like, yo, fucking dumbass, like lock in, like she chose you, like dude, this is opportunity, like do you understand how like lucky or whatever, like everybody wants her. I was like, yeah, but my business, it's like I need to grow my company, maybe in the summer, all that shit. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I didn't see the ROI. You know, it's like I wasn't really distracted by women like that.
Okay, so how long were you in the Ostrava apartment? Like 1 year?
Like a year, yeah.
So like 6 months in, is anything different than like 1 month in? Are you optimizing your strategies?
Life or business?
I guess both. Like, what are you optimizing for during this period?
Yeah,
are you just trying to grow the channel? Are you solely focused on this? Or?
Always growing the channel. I guess I was like becoming more serious about gym. If I started boxing, I got like a personal boxing trainer. I was going to the gym basically every day, nearly every day. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the business, I think we started doing some like brand deals with companies. So it wasn't like only YouTube AdSense. It was like integration sponsorships. But again, we were uploading 2 videos per month. So it wasn't anything crazy. It was good money, but not like every other day or 2. Yeah, so in my life, I mean, again, I'm struggling to remember because I don't reflect on the past. Like, I almost don't believe in the past. Like, we can go like, philosophical or metaphysical, but like, I just don't see any point of it, Maybe if I sometimes like in the future do like a biography or autobiography, I'll need to just like pull up Google Photos or Apple Photos and like look at the photos from that past, or maybe my calendar or something. But like, I don't know. Like, you would have to be like one of my people from the life to kind of prompt me that way. And I would have to legit like look at my photos or like email, maybe like booking flights and stuff like that. But I just don't remember that much from that time period. Like, it was just grinding.
Were you tracking your calendar back then?
No.
When did you start? Because
I had no calendar back then. I was literally remembering like calls in my head, and then
for those that don't know as well, like you track every 15 minutes. You write down like what you do in your calendar.
Yeah, right now I track every 15 minutes, which sounds crazy to people, but like, I don't know. In 2 weeks you get used to it. I also track my calories perfectly. Like it just doesn't matter. Like, I really don't care. I never had this like need to fit in this way. To me, when something is better, it's obviously better. It's obviously better to use an AI agent to track your calories perfectly and to weigh myself every morning to understand what is my total daily energy expenditure and to know like what percentage of calorie deficit I should be and to know exactly my macros. So I hit 200 grams of protein with an AI agent that has built-in intelligence with Opus 4.7. So I can ask it like, okay, I'm going to the gym, like, what type of meal I can have. It's like, okay, 100 calories missing, you do a banana. And it knows like, okay, before the gym, you need to have high carbs, fast carbs, and banana has low calories. Like, it's obvious. When something is obvious to me, I don't need societal approval. It's the same with the alcohol. It was obvious to me that I didn't need to drink. I didn't need some other people. Everybody drank. I had like 2 friends. I remember having 2 friends who didn't drink. And when they were like like one of these people who just like believe, in the government. So the moment they turned 18, they started drinking. I was like, what? You betrayed me. Like, you were one of my 2 friends that didn't drink, and now you turn 18 and start drinking? That's the lamest shit. Like, other people, at least, okay, if they start drinking at 15, 16, whatever. But like, you are like a rule follower. You follow until 18 and then you start drinking. You might as well start drinking when you're 10. What is this? So I felt completely betrayed, and yeah, I was basically the only person who didn't drink.
Did they promise you're not going to drink ever?
No, but they kind of assumed it, They had this identity like me. It's like, I don't drink alcohol. They're one of these people, but then they switch when they turn 18. I was like, okay, you were not about it. But again, I didn't need that societal approval. When something is correct, when something is obvious, for me, that's enough.
So when did you move out of the apartment?
Why or when?
Both, I guess. When and why?
Yeah, so roughly 1 year. I think we ended a bit sooner because the other guy, he couldn't really afford it because it was a very nice apartment, like four bedroom, and it was too big for 2 people. Like we didn't live with girlfriends, so it was just the 2 of us. And the big mistake is it was unfurnished. So we moved into fresh apartment, brand new, pristine, but like nothing. So we had to like buy shit. And then, like guys, they never like buy unsteady. So it was like empty. We just bought a bed and a standing desk and monitors. And like there was no couch, nothing. It was like empty. So yeah, basically he couldn't really afford it. So it was like, okay, what are we doing? And basically we agreed we were going to cancel it. Now I had an option obviously to move by myself because I'm making plenty of money and I had plenty of money saved up. Even though I like wasted on lifestyle inflation, I still invested. I still, was smart with my money because of all the years of self-improvement. But back then I had option. Okay, do I move to Prague? Was one of the options. Do I move to some other Czech city? Do I maybe move to somewhere else? I didn't have like Dubai money yet, or it wasn't. Maybe I had, but I wasn't really thinking about it. I was like, okay. We need to talk about the AI switch because with the AI switch, that was a huge risk.
Was this during the time of?
Yeah, it was a bit after. Like the apartment ended like 1 month after I switched to AI. So we need to go back to I think 2022 November when ChatGPT dropped, because that was a pivotal moment, because that was like the first big technology I could be part of, you know. Like ever since I was young, one of my favorite movies was like very unknown. It's Pirates of Silicon Valley. It's not Pirates of Caribbean, but Pirates of Silicon Valley. It's about Bill Gates versus Steve Jobs and like grinding Silicon Valley. And I was watching, like somebody said like, okay, the best thing you can do is listen to biographies of great entrepreneurs. So I just listen to all of them. You know, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Cornelius Vanderbilt, and The Men Who Built America. One of the greatest documentaries. I've watched it like 10 times probably. I know every single episode. The Men Who Built America. So I had these entrepreneurs, and I kind of knew what to do based on of them, and like watching their life and studying them. So all of them were in a technological shift, right? Big technology, whether it's like the steel production or oil, you know, for John D it was oil, for Andrew Carnegie it was steel, for Henry Ford it was car, for Bill Gates it was personal computer, same with Steve Jobs. Even Mark Zuckerberg is like social media. I understood that like the biggest entrepreneurs had to be in these big waves, technological waves. Obviously, I was too young for the internet. The dot-com bubble like happened before I was born. Then you guys like social media started like 2004, 2006. Obviously, I was way too young for that. Okay, Bitcoin, didn't have any money when 2009 to 2013, when like the early days. So AI was really the first big technological shift I could be a part of. And when it happened, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every single day when I went on a walk, I have this habit of like after lunch, I went on a long walk. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, I need to be in AI. And at the start, I was trying to justify, okay, maybe I can be the most AI first Minecraft YouTuber, you know, using AI to edit, to find clips, whatever. I was like, no, it's not enough. It's not enough. I need to be on the cutting edge. I was like, this is going to change everything. This is my technology. This is my time to shine. And literally every single day since ChatGPT dropped, I was like stuck on this question. Then I learned about the concept of a Think Week from the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. And there, I think it was Bill Gates when he went on like a think week twice a year. Basically, you book a week somewhere in nature, away from everything, and you don't do any busy work. You only think, you only make decisions, you know, walk around, journal, read, whatever. So I was like, okay, I have these unmade decisions, right? Like, do we cancel the apartment? Do I switch to AI? Do I, you know, fire this guy? Whatever. So basically, these big decisions. So what I did is I went to Denmark, Copenhagen, for a week, and just basically like walked around the city, you know, journaling and wasting time basically. It wasn't really that productive in terms of the Think Week. Like the results were productive, but the week was kind of whatever, just walking around, you know. And that was like my way of like making the hard decision that I instinctively knew I had to make, because every day for those months, I was thinking about AI and like, how do I go into AI? Do I quit this Minecraft channel? Obviously, my income will go down in the short term, but I was like, okay, I did a simple graph. I went on Google Trends and I was like, look at Minecraft. It peaked in like 2013, then it went back, then PewDiePie and Dream revived it. I was like, in 5 years, will Minecraft be more popular than it is now? I was like, okay, most likely not. It's an evergreen game, so I knew it's not gonna die. I was like, okay, most likely it's gonna be like similar, maybe a bit less popular. And then I put in AI. I was like, in AI, in 5 years, will AI be more popular or less popular? I was like, it will be more popular. It was, without a doubt, I was certain about it. And again, I began watching like Sam Altman speeches and like learning more about it, you know? Like in those months, we're talking from release of ChatGPT in end of November until April 23. So in those months, I was just researching AI, trying to learn more about it, you know, instantly getting the paid plan when it came out. And I was fully convinced that like this is gonna change the world and that I need to be on this technology. And this simple argument, I had many arguments for quitting the Minecraft channel, but this simple argument, also I didn't want to be 30 making Minecraft videos, right? So it was like, I knew it is a temporary thing. But the biggest thing was like, in 5 years, is AI going to be a bigger market than it is now? Yes. What about Minecraft? Minecraft will be probably smaller. And you know, the market is the most important thing. If you're selling newspapers and newspapers are dying 10% a year, you're swimming against the current. It's the same reason I didn't do content in Czech. Because I knew that Czech people, okay, you can reach Slovakia as well, but like it's like 17 million people. Czech Republic and Slovakia combined, 17 million people, that's it. No more people can ever watch your videos. So it was the same thing here. Like I knew like, okay, the Minecraft is limited, but AI is going to be a huge thing. And so I knew it was only a matter of time. So then after Denmark, which was really the first real thing we did, a real pivotal moment, I realized it's just better to do it sooner than later, like kind of pull off the Band-Aid. And I quit the Minecraft channel. I stopped uploading cold turkey, and my income started going down, obviously, from like 20K. There was some momentum. The videos were evergreen. So like it started going down, but I stopped counting it because you cannot look at the past, right? So I basically, my income went from like 20K a month to like 0. And then when I started the AI channel, it was like, maybe we can go a bit more details in the first month. But since I had YouTube skill, I managed to get monetized in the first month and, get it to like 10,000 followers very quickly, or subscribers. It started making like 1K and then it dropped like 600, right? So I went from like 20K a month to $600 a month, which again, 99% of entrepreneurs would never make this. Luckily, I had money saved up, so my lifestyle costs were not that high. But the reason I'm saying this is because I also decided, instead of moving to Prague and my own apartment and doing the socially attractive thing, I moved back to my parents, which is a huge social damage, for somebody who is a successful guy, with his car and shit. And I even canceled the car like early. It was purely because of I understood like this is the risk to take. And I didn't care about social approval. I cared about being in AI.
So you didn't jump into, building your own software or anything like that. You jumped into creating your AI YouTube channel. Was that because you already had the skill set of growing the channel and you wanted to make money as fast as possible so you can actually survive, but like be
not make
more
money?
in AI?
It was about like, what do I do? That's still a question now. Like, what do we do? Things is changing. Like even now I don't have the answers, but directionally correct. I knew like the channel, first of all, I had the skills, like you said, but I knew having a channel and having some connections and some following cannot be wrong. Right? Like even like trying to be on the cutting edge, maybe you get news faster, like maybe like Elon hits you up and like tells you about the new Grok release, stuff like that.
True story.
yeah, true story. But it's directionally correct. Like I didn't know what to do. I didn't have anything to sell in the first 10 months. I didn't have any product, any school community, any software, nothing. 0 sponsorships. First 10 months of the YouTube channel, pure AdSense. But I just knew like, okay, I'm gonna learn. Every video is a learning opportunity, which is like the best thing to be in AI. And the second thing is like, it's not gonna hurt me having following, having some social presence, right? It's only gonna help. So, yeah.
So what did your parents think when you told them that you're moving back? Did they think that you just failed, or what did they ask you?
No, I mean, they were always supportive. I was very lucky to have great parents. They were always supportive. I mean, it's not like I needed the money. Obviously, I started paying them rent. And the room was there. Like, it's not like somebody else lived in that room. So, I mean, they understood. Like, I'm canceling the apartment with the other guy. And, like, I'm just going to probably move here and I'll travel a bit. I don't even remember how I pitched it. I just asked them if it's fine. They said it's fine. And, yeah. But obviously, for me, there was a huge, like, social step back. Going from, like, one of the best apartments in town and having, like, a Octavia RS to canceling the car, canceling the apartment, moving back with my parents. Like, obviously, I knew it's a calculated bet, and I had the money and I had the skills, and it was a business move. But yeah, socially, it was a move back. But luckily, I wasn't a social status maxing. I didn't care at all.
But why didn't you just do another channel? Like, you had 2 YouTube channels in the past. Why didn't you just have the gaming channel and an AI channel?
It's obvious. It's focus.
What about optimizing it? Why not like just get
people always think it. Yeah, it's not that's easy. The style, the judgment, it's impossible. I tried many editors in the past.
But did you at least consider like trying to automate it?
No. Mm-hmm. Not for a second. It was obvious that I need to be all in AI and that I need to fully focus on the new thing. And yeah, maybe I should take my advice more nowadays. But yeah, it was just like focus, just I knew it. Like if I want to be fully in AI, I don't want to be, I knew like I don't want to be in Minecraft forever. I didn't want to be 30 with kids and maybe making Minecraft videos. So I was like, okay, we just go fully on AI and give it I knew like if I fully focus on it, I would make it succeed faster. It wasn't about if, like I had that like divine delusion. That's what I call it. Divine delusion. I just knew I would be successful. The question is like how fast? And I knew that if I only did that thing, it would be faster. If I was doing the Minecraft thing on the side, it was making me still 10, 15, 20K a month. How serious would I be about this Minecraft channel that it wasn't making me anything? You'd obviously do the thing that like makes you the money and then kind of, mess around. I didn't want to mess around. I wanted to be on the cutting edge of AI.
And so why did you decide to be on camera as well? Did you want to just build your personal brand? Because you were
Good question.
Just
really good question. Yeah, with the Minecraft channel, I was anonymous. Nobody ever recognized me because I had like 470,000 subscribers, but it was only my voice, right? And again, it was in English, so in Czech, I sound a bit different. Nobody ever recognized me, and it just made sense for that field. I considered it a lot. I actually wanted to be like rich and anonymous for all of my life. Until that point, until like 22 or whatever. I wanted to be rich and anonymous, basically have as much money as possible and nobody knows me because that's the best lifestyle. But then I realized, okay, for this content format, like you kind of need to be showing something, and there are some like faceless AI channels that do well. But I figured like it's going to be better for connections and for, you know, just being on the cutting edge to have my face and have a name and be like a personal brand, not just a faceless channel. So it was I thought about it a lot, but I decided I'm going to show my face.
Do you remember like the first few videos?
Yeah. First video was a documentary of Sam Altman, which didn't do that well, but now it has like one.
I was going to say that went pretty viral, no?
Yeah, but not instantly. Like it was a pretty slow grower. Now it has like 1.5 million or something. But at the start, it was like, it wasn't successful. It was kind of slow. And after that, I did daily uploads for the first 30 days. So I logged in and I was like, okay, this is a completely different format. I just need to humble myself. I went from entertainment, which is like Minecraft gaming. Now I need to do education, completely different. And yeah, basically I like realized I need to learn from scratch, and I just did 30 uploads in 30 days.
So why didn't you do, I don't know, AI entertainment? Like there is some of those kind of channels as well, like
not really.
Fairship.
He's still education.
I guess it's a bit of both. But I mean, why did you want to do that pivot to education? Did you and where were you learning the tools? What videos were you watching? Were you just reading articles?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like I was just trying tools.
It's such a new field.
Journey, yeah, it's completely new. Like every video was just like kind of sharing what I learned. You know, there was like nobody was an AI expert. It was so new. So I was just sharing what I learned. If there was some other videos, I tried watching other videos, playing with the tools myself. You know, reading what people said, like in the comments or online. Because
my point is, how do you come into such a new field and like almost as a position of authority to teach the things? So were you just sharing your experience, or were you actually trying to, you know, find out as much as you can and
I mean, I wasn't in a position of authority. I was just sharing like what I learned, you know. Like I remember like it was like mid-journey styles, and one of the first videos in the 30 days, like 20 mid-journey mistakes or whatever. And it's not that hard. You just try mid-journey, do some prompts, see what works. Okay, prompting in this way works better. You watch some, like there's like prompt guides. You see like what the beginners do, right? And you just explain the mistakes. And it's not like positioning as a pro. It's just sharing what I learned. And every day there was something. And even back then, AI was, you know, happening. AI was changing so much news, so that I was able to upload daily. And yeah, some of these uploads were obviously terrible. Like people can go back. All of them are public. I don't archive any videos. This is a huge mistake people do on YouTube. Unlist videos, it's terrible. I never unlist any videos, so all of them are there. But it's just trying tools and learning them and covering some news. That's basically it.
So what was your main AI stack during this time?
ChatGPT, GPT-4o. GPT-4. Just pay ChatGPT. That was the only thing. Like there was nothing else. Okay, Midjourney had a paid plan, I think, as well, but like Stable Diffusion, a Midjourney for images, and ChatGPT. Like there's no AI stack. You know, like paid ChatGPT, like that's it. If you had paid GPT, you were locked in. If you had a $20 a month paid ChatGPT plan, you were locked in. And that was one of my main pieces of advice to people back then. Is like, guys, GPT-4 is way better than 3.5. Please buy the paid plan. And back then, that was like the highest leverage thing you could do.
So didn't you consider also, you know, I don't know, starting an AI agency at this time, or monetizing in some other way than YouTube, especially like whilst not making that much money off AdSense compared to what you were making?
Yeah, I was thinking like what to do. I was thinking of software startups. I was thinking of different things. I don't know. I wasn't really, like, I still have money saved up from the Minecraft channel, so it's not like I was running out of money. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't like really urgent about it. Until January of next year, I didn't have any product. Then I started New Society, thanks to Hormozy, School Games. But yeah, I wasn't I was focused on just like learning the field, making videos, improving my content, and trying to grow the channel. And obviously I knew sooner or later I'll have to start some product or service, but it wasn't really top of mind.
Okay, and I guess one thing we didn't really touch on is like philosophy, religion, and kind of your beliefs. Did you grow up religious? Did you grow up in the church, believing in God?
Yeah, so my journey is very interesting in this way because when I was 6, I saw the Czech Archbishop on TV. So my family is not really religious, so I wasn't religious at all from 0 to 6. Then I saw this Czech Archbishop, like a man in fancy clothes, and I was just curious, like, asked my mom, like, who is this? Like, what is this? She's like, oh, this is religion. I was like, okay. She said, oh, by the way, there's a religion class in your school after hours, Do you want to go there? I'm like, sure. So she signed me up for there. And I was going there once a week, just Christianity class after school, because I was waiting for a bus, because for our village, there was a bus like 5 times per day. So when our school ended, I still need to wait like 3 hours for the bus in a different village because our school didn't have a village. Our village didn't have a school. So I was going to a different village for school, and basically, yeah, so we had some after school activities and religion was one of them. And then I was there for like a couple of years, going to summer camps for Christianity. It was good. But then the issue was like the father from another village, different one completely. I think he was Polish originally because he had like a weird accent. He prevented us from playing floorball. So because it was like overlapping. It was like Christianity, 45 minutes or 60 minutes, and then floorball was slightly overlapping. So instead of like letting us go a bit early, he was like, no, you have to end, and then we couldn't play floorball. And obviously, what do young boys choose? They want to choose floorball. But then, after I switched schools at the age of 11, there was no Christianity class there. So I didn't really do anything. In terms of like what I believe now,
But like, during this time, did you believe, like, what was your kind of...
I was like, you're talking about like from age of 6 to 11, Like, does it even matter what I believed?
Okay, maybe you can take it a little bit forward, like high school, middle school, like during like
yeah,
the whole period. Did you believe in God?
It's a good question. I would say probably agnostic, like probably, I don't know. I was never like so certain to be like an atheist. I was never certain that there is like specific type of God or whatever. Yeah, that's the honest answer. I didn't really think about it in those years.
Were you just like Big Bang, scientific?
Probably more leaning towards that. I watched a Big Bang Theory, not the comedy, but the Stephen Hawking like educational series on physics, astrophysics, the world. Even when I was young, I was very obsessed with like universe and the books on like planets and galaxies and shit. So yeah, I was definitely more like physics, science oriented in that period. Like, what are we sure about? We might as well live in a simulation. People are so sure about everything. Things can change, Like you think you have a, I don't know, stable industry, and then like your business goes bust, or there's a bubble. You think you have a stable relationship, and then you find out something. Things can change. People need to be adaptable. That's like one of the best things. Like, this is like the amor fati, the old saying, like love of fate. Don't have specifics you want. You just love the fate that comes. Obviously, you should try to do your best, go into a certain direction, have a clear mission. But like, it's almost like Elon says, the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. You need to be kind of happy with whatever happens and kind of learn it. Like, this universe is so interesting, right? Like, for example, now if somebody attacked us here, how interesting would that be? It would be kind of inconvenient. We're recording a podcast, whatever. We would probably beat him up, but like, it would be interesting. The most boring thing is like predictable thing every day, Like, what is the most boring thing? It's like these Chinese jobs where like the guy takes a package and moves it here. 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's the type of shit you kill yourself over. When stuff is happening, good or bad, you have to love it. In this case, I completely agree with Friedrich Nietzsche. It's like the love of life in every dimension, the good and bad. You need to love the suffering, you need to love the victory, you need to just embrace life in the fullest. And it comes with pain, and it comes with, happiness and joy or whatever.
Would you be like argumentative against someone that was religious trying to preach God to you, or would you be still willing to listen?
Yeah. No, I would be willing to listen, but the issue is most people who, it's the same with every religion. Most people who are Christian because their parents were Christian. They were raised Christian. Most people who are Muslim because their family is Muslim.
Like just because you were talking about you like not like an authority, and this is almost like an authority figure when someone.
Well, I don't like the church, like the concept that like some priest is closer to God than me. I completely reject that in every way. If you have a child that's like 10 years old and he's praying every day, he's perfect, he's following everything in the Bible, how is that child not closer to God than some priest, than some even the bishop, even the pope? I completely reject that hierarchical structure. Totally. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Pope is the closest person to God in the world. That's a complete joke.
I see. So it just goes back to like rejecting authority, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, even when I was like the most Christian, fully believing in Christ and everything, I still didn't believe in like because, you know, if you go to the Middle Ages, there's like a lot of controversy there where you could like bribe the bishops to like cleanse your sins, you know. The church has a very shady history. So like church is ran by people. It's like an institution. And obviously they use like the Bible and, you know, religion to justify why you should listen to them. But everybody's self-interested. In this way, Machiavelli and Nietzsche are completely correct.
What do you think of reading the Bible, for example, and all these other religious texts? Do you think it's like the ultimate self-help book? Do you see value in it?
Yeah, I mean, especially Book of Proverbs. I think it's probably the most dense pages you can read. It's like what, 30, 40 pages, and every proverb is insane. Like it's crazy. It's probably like, usually I would probably say the New Testament is better, but this is from the Old Testament. It's probably the best book in the entire Bible, I would say. Yeah, I mean, everybody should read the Bible because of it's the most important document, the most important book of all time, right? So everybody should read it, even if you're Muslim or atheist, whatever. But the crazy part is most people have no idea what's in the Bible. Right? Like a great example that I use often is with Jesus. People would say like, oh, Jesus came to bring peace, you know, preaching safety, peace, whatever. There's literally in the Gospels, it's like, I came not to bring peace, but to bring a sword. Nobody even knows that. Like, you know, nobody reads it. People's interpretation of Christianity is what others told them. It's the same with everything. People don't have any opinions. Most people vote based on media, what they heard on the news, what they saw on social media. They don't have their own opinion. Most people don't have a single original idea in their entire life. So most people who are Christians, they haven't even read the Gospels. I'm not talking about the whole Bible. I'm talking about the Gospels. They don't even know anything. They know what their parents told them or what their preacher told them. And these preachers, they're not even that locked in. So like, most people don't know what's in the Bible. They don't know what Jesus actually taught. They don't know anything about anything. They want to be Christians for the label, you know, for what it stands for. But let's be honest, it's the same with every religion. You know, it's like the Muslim guys who like, they'll party, they'll drink alcohol, but they won't eat bacon. It's like that meme, you know, of the Muslim guys. But it's the same thing with Christians. Many Christians lie, cheat, you know, swear, and then they go to church on Sunday and they think it's all good. It's not all good. I believe that if you live the way God wants you to, you get rewarded, even if you're not a believer. This is something that's like goes against the Bible, but like, for me, it makes no logical sense. Maybe I should explain that because when I was younger, I used to do these logic Olympiads, and like I was actually competing in like logic competitions and, you know, math competitions, physics competitions. But logic was my main thing, and I was like pretty successful in my region. I even got to like Prague on the national level. I didn't win, but like, you know, going to Prague is kind of prestigious. Anyways, logically, it makes no sense. If somebody is following what God wants him to do perfectly, he just doesn't happen to believe in the Bible, whatever. How is that person further away from God than somebody who is a Christian on paper, but is like breaking all the commands of God? Makes no sense to me.
But do you think maybe like religion is just to kind of hold society together?
It is, for sure. You need religion to build a successful society. I mean, look at what's happening nowadays. We don't have religion, and it's you know, where do we even get started? Things are falling apart in all directions, right? So I mean, Machiavelli was talking about this. You need religion to build a society. But, you know, it's whether we're talking like one-on-one, what's true, or what is effective to keep order and keep society from breaking. Because nowadays, you know, the most important statistic, I believe, is birth rates. Birth rates are going down. Especially here in Poland, it's tragic. It's like 1.4, even 1.1.
Yeah, I think it might be 1.1.
Terrible. It's over. Like, unless we fix it ourselves, you know, and just do like King Solomon, 1,000 wives. This is like the most important stat. If your birth rates are below 2.1, you're literally dying out. Nobody wants to hear this. Nobody talks about this. But it's true. So whatever causes the birth rates to go down is bad. I don't care if it makes a certain group uncomfortable. I don't care if it's socially unacceptable. If this causes you to die, it's bad. If you look at it as an individual, if I give you poison, it's obvious it's bad. Okay? If I give you bad air with like some carbon monoxide, poison gas, it's bad. If I give you malnourished food, it's bad. Everybody understands it on an individual level. But a humanity, a civilization, and peoples is the same thing. Whatever causes that humanity to like be self-destructive, Nietzsche called it decadence. Which birth rates are the fundamental. If your society is not stable and it's declining, it's only a matter of time before you die out. Whatever causes that is bad. I don't care what is popular on social media, on politicians, in some book, or some certain group of people. If you have to, make radical changes, I don't care. If something causes a group of people to die, an organism to die, a species to die out, it's bad for that species. If something causes it to grow, it's good for that species.
You're mentioning Nietzsche a lot. Who was Nietzsche?
Philosopher, from a German philosopher from, I guess Prussian originally, but like from the late 19th century.
Why are you referencing him so much? Is he one of your favorite philosophers?
Probably, but he also predicted the decline he predicted everything like in what's happening. And basically he talked about it even like 150 years ago. And it wasn't even that bad back then. And he talked about decadence and civilizational decline and all the things we're seeing. Now it's just on a much worse level, which you can say like, okay, maybe he was not correct in terms of like warning how bad it is. Maybe humanity is more resilient than he thought, but he was completely right in all the directions. Like, it's terrible. He has the quote, God is dead and we have killed him. People don't understand the quote. The quote is that like God gave people the values, right? Like you said, to run a society, people are God-fearing. If you truly believe in God and you have a true fear of God, you're not going to steal from somebody, even if they don't were watching because you believe in God, right? You're going to cheat on your partner because you believe in God and you're God-fearing. When God disappears, people don't have any reason to believe these morals. And that was kind of his warning of decline society. And he had a lot of like radical ideas, but I think like most of them are true pretty much. Same with Machiavelli and same with Napoleon. So
you mainly listen to these philosophers because of their predictions?
No, because of their pursuit of truth. Like Machiavelli is the most radical example, and people when say he's Machiavellian, it's a negative word. Like, it's literally one of the three dark triads, like narcissism, Machiavellism, and what's the third one? I don't know. There's like, the dark triad, people can look it up. But basically, it's literally one of the three dark triad traits. Why? Because people are uncomfortable with realism. Machiavelli was very realistic on what it takes to get power, And he was very realistic on like politics and people and human nature. He didn't care about what's good or bad. He just said it as it is. Same with Nietzsche. These people, they didn't sugarcoat it to be like acceptable for the masses, Some attractive philosophy like communism that's like attractive to the masses. They just observe the world like it is and said it like it is. And that's why I resonate with them. Because if you really want to understand the truth, there's going to be uncomfortable things in there. People who think they can pursue truth and it's only going to be like good, they're delusional. Learning about female nature, learning about human nature, learning about societies, groupthink. There's very ugly things in there.
This topic reminds me a bit of the Unabomber. Do you know him?
Yeah.
So he kind of predicted the quote-unquote truth about, technology and where it's going. And he tried to warn people, but he done it in a...
Yeah, very like short-term way, I would say. Like he could have been way more successful if he just wrote some books, I think. Like why bomb some professors, then like, okay, he wrote a manifesto, but like, I don't know, man. He should have had a better strategy. Like, okay, even if you say some of his ideas were correct about like technology, like I would just say like social media is completely destroying our generation. Especially like if you look at every girl has access to like hundreds of possible other lifestyles. And, if you look at 50 years ago, okay, you have a girl from a city or a village. What does she see? She sees like her friends, her family, her neighbors. She never would see like a millionaire, let alone a billionaire with a private jet yacht. Other people's lifestyles, whatever, NBA players, like none of that. So the problem is she would never get in contact with that. And whatever husband she would have, she would probably fall in love with him and like see him as an optimal mate. Nowadays, when you have like social media and where every woman goes in the workplace, they're constantly surrounded by more successful men. If you look at statistically, right? If you're the average guy, on the social scale, statistically, 50% of men are more successful than you, more appealing than you socially. If you're a woman, let's say you're like equally, attractive, whatever. If she's constantly surrounded by more successful men, even if she's loyal, she's gonna respect you less. She's gonna think, okay, but this guy, this other woman, they're traveling 5 times a year. I mean, we only travel 2 times a year. Oh, on Instagram, I saw him, like he bought a huge bear and a bouquet of flowers for Valentine and he only took me to dinner. This is corrupting minds of everybody. And obviously of men as well. I don't want to make it all about women, but women are more susceptible to this because they're more emotional and stuff like that. That's why they need to be protected more as well. But obviously all of these ideas are completely taboo and unacceptable to discuss in current society. But again, I don't care what's acceptable. I care what's the truth, and I care about fixing societal decline. We have a multi-thousand-year civilization. Europe is like 3,000-year civilization. Everything that exists in this world is thanks to Europe. People can go and literally go to ChatGPT and say, list out 50 greatest pieces of classical music. It will list them out. Then say, for each of them, list out the author. It will list them out. And I say, okay, for each of them, list out the origin. 98% are European, made in Europe. 100% are European, 98% are made in Europe. The 2% are from a Czech guy, Antonín Dvořák, who traveled to America, and he composed those classical pieces when he was in America, okay? So that's classical music. You can do the same for cures for diseases. You can do the same for inventions. List out 50 greatest inventions of all time. Over 90% are from Europe. Everything we have right now is thanks to Europeans. If you look at, okay, America is Europeans. Like, it's British, Dutch, German, Irish. Those are European immigrants that built America. So Europe has given the world everything. And even this alone just is a controversial idea, but it's the truth. And Europe is dying out. Every single country, literally every single country in Europe, has a birth rate below 2.1. Compared to this fact, nothing else matters. That's my belief. Like, literally nothing else matters, because if a society dies out, then it's wrong. Whatever is making it die out is wrong.
What do you think is making it die out? Weird.
A lot of different things. The food is poisoned. The people aren't reproducing. Video games, that's another reason. Like, video games, like a lot of these different factors, like social media, video games, everybody's like socially retarded. People cannot even like hold eye contact, hold a conversation. Like even for us, like in our age range, in our generation, the most common way of meeting a partner is through dating apps. It's not the case with our fathers and grandfathers. It's in person, right? Whether some social connect, whether, approaching on the street, in a bar, whatever. It's some social event or college, whatever. For us, it's like dating apps, right? And again, what is a dating app? It's just like a guy. For every woman, it's just flooded, right? Like, if people haven't seen a woman's, you can literally take a woman that's like average. 5 out of 10 attractiveness, she has hundreds of matches. But what does that mean? That means that no matter what guys she gets with, there's more attractive guys. Always available in the phone within a couple of clicks. Like, it's very, like, if you have a loving wife, if you have a home, kids, and you're like a husband, you probably will not cheat. If your wife is in a different country and she's giving you shit and you don't have kids and you have app on your phone where you can get a girl to your home in a couple of minutes, you're probably gonna cheat. It's the same thing in both dynamics, right? Men and women. So there's a lot of things that are like completely causing corruption on many levels of society, or the word decadence. It's just, we can talk about the root causes. We probably can't on YouTube, but it doesn't really matter what's the root cause. It does matter for solving it, but what matters is people understand it. They need to understand, like, this is the biggest problem in the world. And people, they always are like against their brothers. It's even in the Bible, like you and your brother against your cousin, you brother, whatever. I'm butchering it, but basically Europeans are fighting against each other. Okay, in Poland, like, okay, maybe people don't like Germans. It's like, okay, it's been fucking 80 years. Like, come on, we're all Europeans. Europe needs to be united, and not in the European Union, which is a complete parasitic invention. It's a government on top of government. It's a new version of socialist, communist creation. The European Union needs to be abandoned and disbanded. But we as a people, Europeans, need to see each other as Europeans. And we need to get back to our roots, even before Christianity. We look at like Roman Empire and even like the Greeks, A lot of these myths. Have you seen the Christopher Nolan thing? The Odyssey, where they try to cast the fucking tranny.
No.
Basically, it was Brad Pitt, right? In Troy, Brad Pitt in 2004 played Achilles in Troy. And obviously that's a very masculine role. Like Achilles is like from the Odyssey or whatever, one of the greatest like stories of European mythology. Now, Christopher Nolan, the great director, who has some good movies, he cast like the Elliot Page, the woman that turned into man, complete skinny twink, into who's supposed to be a great warrior who sacked Troy. How does that make any sense? This is a pure attack on our European values, on European mythology, even before Christ. And obviously Christ is being attacked from all angles as well. But everything European is being disrespected and attacked. All our myths, all our greatness, whether it's like the great philosophy, the great conquerors, it's all like meant to be bad, you know? If you say like, see yourself as a European, it's like bad. We are the minority. People have this idea that like, oh, minorities are like, you know, Muslims, blacks. 7% of the world population are Europeans. Europeans are the minority and we're dying out. Why do we take this blame from outside forces? People always think that it's enemies, right? Or like that's other people are our friends. We are the most friendly people. We welcome everybody into our lands, but nobody welcomes us. The most racist countries are in Africa, in Asia. Those are the most racist countries, not in Europe. Europe welcomes everybody. There's all types of shapes and sizes and religions living in Europe. We welcome everybody, we're friendly to everybody, and it's biting us in the ass and it's completely destroying us. Same thing with global warming and with pollution. Europe produces 2% of the global pollution, yet all of us have to recycle. All of us has to track our emissions on our cars. Every flight has the emissions. All these like extra taxes and like all this guilt thrown onto Europeans. Why? 2% of the world's pollution? Look at India. Look at China. Look at Philippines. They are literally dumping trash in the rivers. And they are producing all of the pollution. Not Europeans. Yet we take the blame. It's all propaganda. All of this self-hate needs to be removed. Europeans need to get back to their like ancestry, whether that's Christ, but I would argue it goes even before Christ. Even like the great myths. That's why I bought the book of like Iliad and Odyssey. People need to read these great myths. Whether they're some of them true, some of them are false, doesn't matter. They need to get back in touch with what it means to be European and all of the European values. And that's of greatness. That's of achievement, of creation, new values. That's why Nietzsche, back to him, he was talking about Dionysian values, which is Dionysus was a Greek god of like accepting anything. Anything that happens, just expressing yourself fully in life. You know, whether that's in your work, whether that's in art, whether that is socially, just expressing yourself to the fullest extent, reaching potential in everything. Not like being this passive class, you know, of like, oh, we believe to be carefulness, everybody's equal. Everybody's not equal. Somebody works double as hard as somebody, should they be paid the same? Even a child will tell you no. It's instinctive. Everybody understands. If somebody works harder, they should earn more. But you have all these ideas, you know, all these ideas of equality, all these egalitarian values. You have like communism, socialism, which are the pinnacle, but it's the Marxist values. You know, Karl Marx, complete poison on society. It's trying to convince people that like, if somebody is slacking, and we still have it, even though Europe is not officially communist, we still have these systems. All these like social welfare, social insurance, all this stuff. We literally import people who don't want to work, don't speak our language. We give them free housing, free hotels. In the UK, 5-star hotels. They get paid more than working class in Ireland for doing nothing. And they just chill at home, have all the kids, while the native people don't have any kids, and we're being replaced.
And I think the birthright issue is seen as like a far-fetched idea that like, oh, maybe in like 10 generations it's over, but like it's much closer than you realize, because even like if you do simple maths in 3 generations, if a family has 7 kids for 3 generations, that's 7 multiplied by 3.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have
that goes from the angle of replacement, which is obviously the one issue, but the other angle is just purely the math of those countries surviving. Because if you have much bigger old population who goes into retirement and needs pension, who pays for that pension?
Yeah.
The money needs to be printed because there's not enough young people, which then will cause hyperinflation.
And also, what do you think of where we are geopolitically as well?
I mean, I came here from Dubai, so like I think that says it all. Dubai began getting bombed. Like, luckily, there wasn't many casualties, but it is pretty serious where you cannot do any work, right? If you're getting alarms on your phone, like missile incoming, go hide into the basement, you cannot focus. You cannot be peaceful at all. Zero deep work, zero anything. Yeah, that's very unfortunate geopolitical location, right in the Middle East there. Obviously, I guess Europe is a bit better, but again, you never know in this world, It's the same answer. You need to be adaptable. You need to be willing to drop all your plans and play the game.
Yeah, do you think there's any chance of a war here anytime soon, or even a civil war?
Not a civil war. Like in Poland, I don't see a civil
war.
War.
Maybe not in general in Europe, in the Western countries.
Europe could be like civil war of like natives versus, I guess, invaders, immigrants, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, there are some productive ones, but like, if you need to import the best people, right? If you look at Dubai, I was an immigrant in Dubai, right? But Dubai attracts entrepreneurs and people who are productive. Here, we just literally in Ireland, there was a government agency that went into like Syria, Jordan to scout people, to convince them to move. Not even people.
A lot of people don't notice, by the way.
This is crazy. People don't notice how deep
this is where people's tax money is actually going, to these people flying around, bring them in, getting replaced.
It's not just people who want to come. Yeah. It's people who didn't want to come. There's tax-paid NGOs who go there, recruit people, convince them to come.
And then pay for a food, hotel. Everything. These people don't work. Not only that though, on top of that, there are also criminals that are raping kids and killing them and stuff. There's
it's even crazier than that. It literally is like based on skin color. In Czech Republic, there's a famous guy who was the first Czech black politician. Okay, he was famous for looking different than everybody else. He was like a social media kind of like a Gen Z guy. He raped 2 girls and had 1 attempted rape. In all of human history, he would be hanged within a week of the evidence coming out, right? Of the trial, whatever. He got 3 years. He got 3 years for basically 3 rapes. Like, how do we live in a stable society?
Yeah.
You literally can get into more trouble for speeding on the highway than this. Like, what is going on? This is why I don't care about what society thinks at all. We live in a completely fucked up world where you can rape 2 girls and do 1 attempted rape. And by the way, I think they were underage as well. And he gets 3 years instead of instant execution. What does that say to the other rapists? And by the way, he was speaking Czech. It's not like a fresh immigrant. He was like, I think born in Czech. I don't even know. But like, he was speaking Czech well. He was a famous politician. 3 years. Purely because he's black. If he was white, he would get more. But hey.
In the times of old, when we had, kings, like this wouldn't be allowed. You wouldn't go to your neighboring country, bring in immigrants, pay for them, and give them a better life.
Nobody would tolerate.
Not only tolerate, but like, do you think this is done on purpose?
It is done on purpose. I mean, there's literally a document from United Nations from like 2001 called Replacement Migration. It's like 82 pages or something. People can look it up. Replacement Migration document, official document from United Nations from 2001. Like, I don't know, like, we're running out of conspiracy theories, because like they're all becoming true sooner or later. So I mean, people, it's it's this saying like ignorance is bliss. When you're just a dummy who like has like 90 IQ and you don't read, you just believe what's on the news. Life is easy. Life is very easy. Maybe your wife is cheating on you with your neighbor or your boss, and you don't even know it. It's like, life is easy. But when you're educated, self-educated, not college. College is just indoctrination camps. When you're self-educated and when you're like, even slightly intelligent, and when you actually study history and what's happening, and when you pay attention, not just blindly believe what people tell you, but pay attention and reason from first principles and have your own ideas and try to like figure out why things are happening, then you really see how fucked up this world is, And like even in America, to bring it back from Europe, like we talk about Europe, America, like in the last few months, turns out to be ruled by basically pedophiles. And what, is there a revolution? No. People just accept it. Oh yeah, this billionaire was on the Epstein Island. Oh yeah, this politician, this ex-president, this current president. It is what it is. What the fuck is going on? Like, French Revolution started over less than that. And people are getting guillotined every week. Literally their head chopped off. Now, a politician can be a child rapist. And again, rape, that's like one of the chill things on the Epstein list, They were literally eating children. Nobody cares. People are like completely enslaved by media, TV, junk food, poison food, ultra-processed meals. The water is poisoned. It's like tap water is terrible. Like, everything is fucked. It's fucked on so many levels. But again, we have to be optimistic.
It's a war on information as well, because where do you get information like this when everything is compromised?
Yeah, everything is compromised. Even the main ChatGPT, like Claude models, they have agenda. If you ask them political questions, you cannot research this. They'll steer you in a certain direction. You need to do your own research. You need to read like forbidden books. You need to go deeper. You need to listen to what your ancestors said. If people want to believe, about like, people always think like, oh, Africa was like colonized by Europeans. They should read the accounts of the great explorers. They were literally doing human sacrifices, drinking blood from altars, the most vile shit imaginable before the Christians come, the explorers. And people would say they would still defend it like the native lands. In Tenochtitlan, in Aztec Empire, they skinned people alive as a sacrifice to their gods, Like the most crazy shit. And it's like all these things, nobody knows it because nobody reads these books from the explorers from the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, the people who actually discovered it. They came and they saw all these horrors. They implemented some like basic structures. Like, we have to stop this, They're like sacrificing each other. Even right now, it's super controversial to say. There's multiple countries in Africa that have rape festivals where multiple times a year, just men go out and just rape the women in the village, right? So like, the world is completely inverted. Everything people believe, they've been given to them. They haven't done their own research. They haven't reasoned from first principles, and they don't use their eyes. Same with COVID, right? It's a dangerous virus. It's gonna kill everybody. Take your vaccine. Don't question it. Nobody saw a dead body on the street in Europe. Not a single person saw. Like, what are we doing here? Especially the people who were not affected, right? Our age group. It was known very quickly within the first 1 or 2 months that it was targeting either extremely obese people with pre-existing health conditions, or people who were in their 80s and 90s. This was known very quickly. What does everybody do? Everybody takes the vaccine blindly. Why? I don't know. 2
reasons. I mean, socially, and they made it impractical for you to travel, for example.
Well, of course.
Those are like, I mean, the latter is...
Both come from propaganda, though. Both come from media propaganda and just like... I mean, it's all starts with media, Like, that's why they like censor and, people do socially. That's what I'm saying. Most people don't have any original ideas. You ask people why they vote for a party, they can't even tell you the party rules or the party agenda, policies. They don't know anything. You cannot like, people go to college for psychology. They cannot name a single psychologist. Why are they in college? Okay, they get some tax break. They think the paper will help them get a job. It's like, what are we doing here? They're literally teaching us falsehoods against our history. Nobody knows nothing about European history. Like, you ask the average person on the street, when did the Renaissance happen? The Renaissance is one of the most important periods in European history. I guarantee you we can do it right now. 9 out of 10 people cannot tell you the century. Stuff like this should be criminal. We're taught that like, we are like evil, we're oppressors, blah, blah, blah. We Europeans invented all of the technology. All of the great books, all the great science, all the great art comes from Europe. Yet there's this active effort to make us feel bad, to make us feel like we are the bad ones, like we owe the rest of the world something. No, we don't owe them anything. The rest of the world is not friendly to Europe. All of them want the worst for us. All of them are selfish. All of them want the best for their own people. We Europeans, we need to realize this, and we need to prioritize our own. And we really need to see ourselves as Europeans. Not this like Ukrainians against Russians, Polish against Germans. Like, what are we doing here? Like Irish against UK, complete distraction. It's a distraction. We are Europeans. We build this world, and we are dying out.
How do you combat this when it's compromised on so many levels, and it might be even accelerated thanks to AI?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I wish I had all the answers, but I guess it starts with like this, slowly pushing the Overton window, making it acceptable to talk about this. Kind of talking with other people who have these ideas, trying to explain it to others. When you have somebody who's like slightly waking up, trying to get them a bit over the edge. Obviously, most people are probably hopeless, but it needs to be communicated clearly, and it needs to be from a position of like love and good. It can't be from a position of like oppression and like something negative. Like, again, the idea of birth rates, it's a very good idea. Like, you want humanity to prosper, and it starts with your own people. People understand it. Okay, when you get rich, you take care of yourself and your immediate family. Then you maybe your extended family and some friends. But like, if you extrapolate, like, okay, then you do like your village, your town, your region, your country, your continent. You don't get like lifestyle maxing in Miami or in Dubai or in Bali. Like, what is that? Okay, you make 1 million a month, you have a yacht, like, who cares? At a certain point, like you literally cannot buy anything. Like, what's the difference between an M4 and a Lambo and a Bugatti and 2 Bugattis? Like, the only real value you can say is private jet. But like, other than that, like, what has any value? Okay, you have 1 house versus 2. You can only live in 1 house. Okay, you have like a nice house with like 5 rooms. You can only be in 1 room. It's like, you can't even buy these things, you know? Like, obviously, you want to have like basic needs taken care of and you can use money to save time. All that stuff is true. But like, at a certain point, you need to start improving the lives of your own peoples, okay? So that goes beyond your family to your community, your region, country, and your continent. We need to expand people to start seeing each other as Europeans again and to embrace some of the European core values that became true, whether it's a Slavic traditions, you know, from hundreds of years ago, whether it's like the Greek values, the Hellenic values. People first they need to know about them. They don't even know about them, but they need to start embracing them and seeing us as the ones who build the world, not some, you know, evil people who colonized others. The people who we colonized were doing human sacrifice rituals when the explorers came.
So where do you see this need to, I guess, shine the light on what's happening in Europe? Is it
because nobody's just going to do it? Like, we cannot just wait around. Like, you know this, you know?
Because you could lifestyle maximize, and this
I could
ultimately going down this kind of direction is probably going to make your life worse in
of course.
most regards.
It's going to make my life harder and worse, of course. I mean, listen, I could be in Dubai and legally have 3 or 4 wives and be making millions of dollars and be in great physical shape and have all my material and physical and pleasures taken care of. I could probably do that for, you know, the next, I mean, unless the World War III breaks out, I could do that easily. Or maybe I just relocate to Hong Kong or Bali. Bali is super cheap. I can lifestyle max in Bali. It's a great place to meet wives and stuff, you know. I'm joking. But I don't know. At a certain point, you just have to do, like, you have to do something that you need to do. It needs to be done. It just needs to be done. Like, I don't know how else to put it. When I'm 80 years old, I'm not gonna be like, I wish I bought another car. You know, I wish I made a bit more money and let my community die. I wish I told the truth less. You know, I wish I was a bit more careful and played by the rules and really like optimized for my societal status, and I wish I didn't piss anybody off. It's like, nobody's gonna think that when you're 80 years old. I think it comes down to it needs to get done, and if we don't do it, nobody else will do it. That's the uncomfortable truth. You know, there's times where I would like to sit in a park and read a book and you know, have a chill life and, you know, have a stable relationship and all that stuff, but like, to whom much is given, much is expected, as the Bible says. Many are called, few are chosen. Just the fact that alone we know what's happening and we have some ideas about the solution, I think that alone gives us certain responsibility that we have to do our best.
Let's think of some optimistic solutions for just one of the problems in Europe, like such as birth rates, because I think there's been there's one country that is not declining in birth rates, let's just put it that way. And what are they doing differently that you think the average country in Europe is not following? Is it the traditions? Is it the society?
It's a lot of things. It's okay. So, for example, Poland is trying, even Hungary is trying some of the tax reliefs. It's not really working. I think Poland tried like giving 500 zloty for a birth. It's kind of a joke. What you need to do is you need to make it societally acceptable and attractive to be a mother. The propaganda really targets women because it's all about the party life and clubbing, right? That is what appeals to women. Traveling. The fuck is traveling? Like, traveling is so overrated. Like, okay, yeah, you want to visit some other countries, obviously, but like after a certain point, it's like, what's the appeal? All of these things, they appeal to young women because if you have women distracted, then, you know, men cannot have kids without a woman. The birth rate is childbirth per woman, you know, 2.1 children per woman, which means 3. You need to round up to the closest whole number, which is 3. If people are not having 3 kids per couple, we're dying out. If you say to typical person, doesn't matter if it's a man or woman, you should have 3 kids. It's like, whoa, wow, so much. Maybe I want to have 1 or 2. What do you mean so much? 3 is the bare minimum so we don't die out. We need to make it standard for people to have 10 kids, 12 kids. We need to make it like weird when somebody has only 4 kids. What the fuck is going on? You're healthy. Why don't you have 6? Why don't you have 8? And again, it's all about what is considered attractive. Both propaganda to men and women. Like, for a man, it cannot be attractive, this lifestyle maxing, you know? Constant, like, just spending and like, you know, traveling and like short-term relationships and this cannot be attractive to men. But for women, this is even more essential because these women are the mothers, right? How many, like, we literally cannot even listen to the advice of our fathers, our uncles, because they live in a completely different generation. It is so bad. And again, maybe we are the only ones who feel it in our generation because, people who are already 40, 50, 60, married with kids, they don't care, They already have a wife. They don't need a second one unless they're Muslim. This is actually a good idea from the Muslims if there's something we could borrow. If you can take care of multiple wives, why is it societally wrong to take care of them? If they are happy to share you, if you have the finances for it, and if you can protect them physically and, emotionally take care of them, why is that wrong? Even in the Bible, it's not forbidden. People don't know it because they don't read it. Jesus never forbid multiple wives. So, this is just one idea. But yeah, back to your question, there's many things we can do. The main thing is just making it easier for people to start families. Making it more socially acceptable for a woman to finish middle school, high school, and become a young mother. Not saying oh, you have a kid at 25 is young. How is that young? Women used to have kids at 19. By 25, they used to have 3 kids. And I'm not talking about thousands of years ago. I'm talking about 2 to 3 generations. This is a complete reversal of, one of the biggest lies in this world, really one of the biggest lies, is that men and women are equal. That they're the same. We can talk about equal on a moral scale. I'm not talking about a moral scale. I'm talking about practically. Men and women couldn't be more different. The only thing is the body that's similar. 2 hands, 2 legs, 1 head. But everything else is different. The biology, the selection of mates, how they make decisions, emotionally, logically, rationally. Everything is different about men and women. And we're taught that it's the same. Is this equality? It's back. Equality is really one of the most evil ideas. Whether it's between somebody who is hardworking versus lazy, and they're going to be clapped because progressive taxation, right? They try to make everybody equal. That they make the same amount of money. The more money you make, the more you pay on health insurance, social insurance. You have a higher tax rate. If you're a complete lazy ass dumbass, you get benefits. You get taken care of. You get boosted up. If you're producing well, you get boosted down. So a Nietzsche idea of Ubermensch, somebody who creates new values and is high achiever, gets clapped down, limited by society. Someone like Napoleon, Julius Caesar, Beethoven, Mozart, Goethe. Someone who's completely freeloader gets boosted up by these socialist, communist ideas. That's the idea of equality. It's the same thing with men and women. That we're equally the same. We're not the same. Okay? Traveling alone as a woman is not the same traveling alone as a man. For a woman, it's much more dangerous. Woman's brain is completely different than man's brain. The most depressed demographic in this world, the people who take the most antidepressants, are 50-plus-year-old women with 0 kids. As a man, you can still have kids when you're 50. You can start a family when you're 50. You can still have 10 kids when you're 50. You can work all your life and develop yourself, your business, career, and at 50 start a family. I'm not saying it's optimal or whatever, but you can do it. As a woman, you're fucked. If you don't have kids in your 20s and 30s, it's over. And that's how these women who are in the 55 with 0 kids end up addicted to antidepressant drugs. And I guarantee you, they would give their arm and a leg to have just 1 child, But they cannot do it because they're long past gone. The idea of equality needs to be removed completely. We need to embrace reality. This is why these philosophers that are brutally honest, Nietzsche, Machiavelli, and so on, even Robert Greene, who's more of an author than philosopher, they just appeal to me because they say it like it is. It's not this idea of communism where every worker is equal and a worker should earn the same money as the factory owner. The factory owner took on insane risk to start the factory, to invent a new manufacturing process. The worker joined an already working process. Okay, he contributes, he should be paid something, but they're not equal. Just like men and women are not equal. Just like Europe is not equal to other continents. Europe is the best continent in the world. There's literally any evidence I can take. I already listed out 20 fucking angles you can look at it. Whether it's curing diseases, whether it's inventions, art, all of these things. Europe is the greatest continent in the world, bar none. Other continents are not equal. This idea of equality is complete poison and it needs to go. And I think it's at the root of many different problems.
We have about 10 minutes left, so I want to go back to the arc just to finish the arc storyline, I guess. We started off with your early childhood, then we moved on to, the teenage, early 20s. Then we moved on to some philosophical takes and where Europe is heading. So now in Act 3, I just want to touch on what you're currently doing. Where do you see the future? What are your plans? What is your vision? And What are you doing in Katowice?
Okay, so let's start practical, okay? Katowice is very untapped. It's like a hidden gem in Poland, you know? It's people don't even know there's skyscrapers. Like even people from Warsaw, people literally who are Polish, they have no idea there's skyscrapers in Katowice. They think it's some like small fishing village, coal mine. Yeah, crazy. So first of all, Poland is probably the best country in Europe right now on many different metrics, you know, safety, economic growth since COVID, really entrepreneurial, a lot of great technological founders. I mean, like 1/3 of the people at OpenAI are Polish. Obviously, America steals them because of European fucking bureaucracy and regulation. We should be mad about this. Why is the best Polish talent in San Francisco? They should be increasing the GDP and the lifestyle and the technology and the abundance of Poland and of Europe. But no, all these Brussels bureaucrats with their endless regulations and their progressive taxation and high taxes and all this bullshit, they make it very unattractive, very difficult to start businesses here. And then just American company offers them 10 mil a year for like, you know, AI scientist. And they just, how do you resist 10 mil a year? You can't. So you leave. Katowice, it's south of Poland. It's very untapped. Cost of living is great, very cheap, very safe. And in a 1 hour radius, there's like 5 million people. So a lot of people underestimate Katowice because it's kind of small, but it's connected to other cities. So if you look at it as a one big city, it's very big. It's bigger than Warsaw. But people only look at like Katowice city center and think, okay, it's like 200K. It's like, no, it's like one big city connected to other ones. So
but we are in a new time, so you don't really need to have an in-person office, which you're building right now, which we will probably have a vlog up by the time this goes out about the in-person office.
Yeah.
So why don't you do remote work?
Because I did remote all my life since 15 and 16. And it's very obvious why. Look, last year I did a research on AI startups, or no, just any startup that reaches $1 billion status, also known as the unicorn status. Any startup, which is basically a company, let's call it company. Out of all the companies that reached $1 billion valuation, you know, enterprise value, market cap, 99.5% of them had an in-person team. It wasn't 50-50. It wasn't 50% remote, 50% in-person. It wasn't 80-20, it wasn't 90-10. It's 99.5 to 0.5. So basically, if you want to build a big company, you need an in-person team, to put it in plain English. So I want to build a big company, so we're going to have an in-person team. You tell me, is it paying off or no?
Do you have any idea? Yeah, it is, but do you have any idea of like what that is going to be? Because last time we didn't even touch on this.
We hired like 3 people in the last 2 weeks. You know?
We didn't touch on this too much, but like you did after the YouTube channel, you jumped into a startup, burning like $30,000 a month.
Yeah,
but that was a big kind of risk take. Now you decided to go on a different kind of path and do the more stable approach.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, do what's working. The YouTube channel is what is driving the revenue. So like try to actually...
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do both, okay? We're going to do more of what's working and we're going to take some risks as well. Like the issue is like, you know, we cannot do the safe things. It's kind of boring. You know, YouTube is very safe. You're just doing like AdSense, New Society, brand deals. Like it's very predictable, you know? Like obviously it's like lifestyle maxing. We can be lifestyle maxing with this. We can be flexing around, you know, making more money than 99.9% of guys our age. But like, what's the point? We need to be taking risks, okay? What that is, I don't have all the answers. But it's gonna be just like purely about money. It needs to be something new. You know, 0 to 1 is a great book, but it's more of an idea. Creation of new values. That's one thing. That's like the main characteristic of the Übermensch that Nietzsche talked about. Is creation of new values. Most people cannot even think of why they have the values they have, let alone think of new values people have. Right? So like, for example, a value could be like, okay, if somebody's better at you at something, you support him. If we need to drive to Warsaw ASAP and you are Max Verstappen, I'm going to let you drive because you're going to be there faster. That's the creation of new values. It's like, what does matter? For example, the birth rate. Birth rate being the most important thing, I think that's a new value. People don't realize that, you know? So that's what we need. We need something new. Whether it's a new art, a new book, a new media, a new podcast, a new way of thinking, a new political ideology, a new software, a new hardware. It needs to be something new. You can't just repeat what everybody else does, you know? What we do, like we invent a new thumbnail format and 1 month later, like everybody uses it. Like, okay, you can still get some success by copying others, but society and civilization doesn't advance. Elon Musk didn't become a trillionaire by copying what others did. He took immense amount of risk, worked 120 hours per week, almost went bankrupt multiple times, destroyed his relationships, destroyed his personal health to create something new, to invent rocket technology, to invent electric cars that actually work and are affordable. Neuralink, Solar City, Boring Company, XAI, is co-founder of OpenAI. All of these things are something new. Did he play it safe? Did he go into a proven business? No. He went into the most risky shit imaginable to create something new. This is what we should aspire for. And again, it's not just about business and entrepreneurship. It could be art. It could be like social things. It could be culture, theater. It could be painting. It could be really anything. But it needs to be new. Creation of new stuff. This is what we Europeans are all about. This is what we're good at. But again, it's suppressed. Just be like everybody else. Go to college, have the same beliefs, do a job, don't create anything in that job. Follow what the authorities say, whether it's the authorities in the school, whether it's the authorities in the government. Don't try to stick out too much. You're going to get punished by taxes, by society, by the law. We need to make it the most valuable thing when somebody creates something new. Like Vincent van Gogh, he literally died in poverty, and now he's one of the greatest painters, right? We need to celebrate people like this. People who, like Nikola Tesla, also died in poverty. These people, it's gonna be like rewarded societally if you're like a flexer who like is just lifestyle maxer, or like a woman that's like pleasure maxer. It needs to be something new. Creating a child is something new. Creating a child is 0 to 1. Unfortunately, as men, we don't have the ability to create a child. Women do. If a woman, the greatest thing she can do is create children, as many of them as possible, because this is literally creation of something that didn't exist, something out of nothing. This is the magic of entrepreneurship. You create something out of nothing. There wasn't any YouTube channel, now there is a YouTube channel. There wasn't any software, now there is a software. Something out of nothing. It's the greatest thing you can do. No matter if it's in business, in having children, in art, doesn't matter. People need to create something out of nothing.